All right, welcome to episode 267 of the Current Gen podcast. My name is Tim. I'm here with Dan, and finally, Kyle has come back to the podcast.
The
Sorry,
boys
that
are
was
back
really
in town.
anticlimactic.
There it is.
Yeah. Kyle is back. I've got teenage sons that are out there making shakes. I just now realized. I just heard the machine going. So if you happen to hear that,
What?
I apologize. They have
Are
like
they
one
gonna
of those
bring one in
ninja.
for you?
Yeah, like the ninja things, the ninja bullets or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
that they're
yeah,
mixing
yeah,
up
yeah.
their little special. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All the boys are wanting to get swole, like they're all trying to get bulky.
Oh,
they'll,
like
love it.
workout
go to the
shakes. Okay.
yeah. It's that
Okay.
type of stuff. I think it's good, but then I'm
Gotcha.
always like, what's that aftertaste? Like that's the protein. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I can't not taste
That's-
protein. Like it
Right,
will
yeah, yeah.
through everything. I will taste
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a grittiness. I don't know. It's not my
Yeah.
favorite,
it's
but
not-
it's fine.
It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant.
Hey, but to be fair, my oldest son, who just turned 18, and I have no problem bragging about him because I'll also rag on him when he's being a dumb teenager / young adult. But dude has gotten so big. Like he's already 6'3", so he's got
Mm.
height going for him. I mean, I know
Mm,
Kyle,
sure.
you're pretty tall, so you know the height thing, right? That
Yeah.
helps. But then he has spent the last, I'm gonna say, 4 straight years just really focusing in on getting stronger. And over the years, it feels
Oh.
like it's like this year especially, he's really gone to the gym probably 5 days a
Nice.
week.
He's
And
on his way to being a Marvel superhero.
He's just
actor.
jacked, dude. Like he for his birthday, he posed beside me, like flexing in his tank top, and I was like, "This is not cool. This is
We
not."
need
Yeah,
to
like,
get
I
him
just
a
feel so small.
helicopter and a side of a ledge and have him hang off of it and pull the helicopter
Yeah,
towards it,
and then
Captain
pull-
America style.
yeah, pull it. So yeah, he's actually at prom tonight. So this is his younger
Oh,
brother. So
Oh,
we're following his
fun.
footsteps.
All right. Prom.
Yeah,
That's fun. Core
yeah.
memory.
I mean,
Good
just
for
as
him.
an example, like he hasn't gotten any taller the last year and a half or so, but he has gotten bulkier. Like his shoulders, especially, have gotten broader. So like his
Mhm. He just looks
dress
bigger.
clothes that he never wears don't fit. He had to go buy new clothes today.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, you
Those are
can't,
the
you really
good
can't
kinda
get your jacket
games.
on?
So
Yeah,
he
all
had
the
to go to
games.
Swollen Tall, right?
Yeah,
Swollen
that's
Tall.
Swollen
right.
tall.
Swollen
That's what it's
tall.
called. Yes. Yeah, totally. I'm gonna tell him that. That's a pretty good one. I
Heck
like
yeah.
that. All right. Well, we are back. There are some new games this week to talk about, so we'll dive into that. We've got a few headlines that I'll kind of just go through in real time, scan through the headlines. I didn't have time to collect them like I usually like to this week, so we'll just look through and see what. And if you guys want, feel free to open up a browser, and if you see like recent headlines, what you think is interesting, feel free to throw those out there when we get to that section. But it's also that time of year where the first quarter is behind us. And we could have done this last week, but I wanted Kyle to be here for it. And
I
that is
appreciate
our
that, 'cause
Game
I
of the
love-
Year
I love
watch,
this
quarter
stuff.
1. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to talk about what's a contender, what's a pretender. And before we do it, I'm actually going to walk you through a little bit. What did we say last year after Q1? Let's see how accurate we were after we did this
Cool.
last year. We did
Okay.
contender, pretender then too. So anyway, so we'll get into that as well. So one of the things I like to do, of course, is to share some kind of footage of the games that we're talking about as we chat about it. So the first thing I think that we should talk about is probably the biggest release of the week, and that's South of Midnight. Now I know Kyle, you've had a chance to play it some. Dan, have you tried it yet?
No, not yet. No.
Okay, I highly
Still
recommend
being a
it. I do
ninja.
think you'll like.
Still being a ninja.
I think you'll like it, and since it's on Game Pass,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer. Give it a try.
Oh, I
do
was
think-
excited from the gate. I love the the animation style, that kind of claymation, stop motion type
Yes.
of thing that it's got going
Mhm.
on. So, yeah.
Yeah, I do think you're gonna like it when you have time to give it a try. So we'll put this on. If you feel like it's a little spoilery, this is just a review. So I don't think there's major spoilers, but feel free to avert your eyes if you feel like there might be. Just you guys can just listen in. But yeah. So this game, South of Midnight, it's from shoot. What's the name of the? Is it not Coalition? What are they called?
I
Oh,
don't
the-
know,
the
but
dev?
is it the Stubbs the Zombie dev? Is that who it is?
Compulsion. There it is. Compulsion Games, known for We
Okay.
Happy Few and Contrast. So We Happy Few
Oh,
was the
no,
last
okay.
one that I recognized.
Oh yeah, I forgot those are the two games because those are kind of like smaller. They were like sort of like Swimming in 7 games, right? Like
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We Happy Few had that
Yeah.
really creepy, interesting art style too.
yeah,
And so some elements of that with the character design I see here with the We Happy Few with how they design characters and movements and stuff, but very, very unique. I remember from the trailer that we saw, I think it was last year, or I think it was last year that we saw this, could have been a year and a half ago, that we first had this revealed. And the stop motion animation, kind of that the characters are in 10 frames per second, but the environment's in 60, kind of a feel like the Spider-Man universe, kind of a
Mhm.
vibe. Just in terms of the animation, it stood out to me, and I think a lot of people kind of like that look and feel, and it gives it a great style. So that jumped out to me right away, and of course, as soon as we got the feeling, hey, this is going to be some deep South New Orleans lore, like some kind of the Bayou lore. Like I don't know much about the history and lore of the people who have now been there for generations. And so I was like, this is
Yeah.
intriguing. I'm excited to see some of the mythology that we don't usually get to hear about. So I've been excited about it. And I'm sure you guys are the same way. The art style alone, as you can see here, as I'm just looking at it again, I'm like, man, this game is so pretty. Uh, so I'm pretty excited to talk about it. But Kyle, before I share a bunch of my thoughts on it, I think I'm in chapter 4. Um, so I'm not sure how much you've gotten a chance to play. But what do you think
I'm
so
one
far?
behind you. I'm in chapter 3.
Okay. Yeah. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts so far?
I'm liking it. Yeah, yeah. It's really cool. Man, first off, just like you said, I mean, we're all here because of how it looked, and
That's right. Yeah.
that definitely like held true whenever I was playing it. And it just feels nice. I don't know how you make a game feel choppy but like play smooth at the same time. I don't really know how they
Yeah. That's
figured that
such a
out.
feat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah, because
crazy.
it is like stop motion animation, but not at the peril of like being again like choppy in terms of its performance. And I don't know,
Which is important
it's
with all
really
the
nice.
platforming, right? Like there's some precise
Yeah.
platforming
Oh
happening.
yeah. And yeah, and
Like that.
all the mechanics are very basic and you've seen it before, but like I think that
Yes.
that's fine. And I like that it's kind of relying more on its style than it is like trying to reinvent the wheel or whatever. I don't need every game to become like this like huge thing, because I think it still feels fresh despite feeling familiar, just because of its setting and because of its characters and stuff like that. And
Yep.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. My dad's side of the family's from the swamplands,
Oh,
so
really?
yeah,
Hmm.
my whole family's from Louisiana on my dad's side and has been there their entire our entire lineage or whatever. So,
So then I
and
got to
my
ask a
mom's at
really dumb question. So just bear
uh
with me for this stupid question. This
right.
whole mythology, this lore of the grand tapestry and the idea of weavers and these haints, and is this all been created for this game, or is this existing
I think
mythology in
some
the
of that
setting?
is like like voodoo slash Cajun like culture and stuff like that. I think it's making up its own mythology for the most part, but like Grand Tapestry and stuff like that, it's very lingo of like kind of almost like Haitian or Southern, because it's a melting pot down there, like truly. So
Yes. Yeah.
nothing's
Some from the
truly like voodoo or
islands, and yeah.
Haitian. Nothing's
Hmm.
truly French slash Cajun. Nothing. It's all just kind of mixed together a little bit.
Okay, that
So
makes
yeah, I
sense.
think this game does make its own mythology, but by using maybe a lot of lingo or even aesthetics and stuff like that
Yeah.
that have come from like more historical or cultural type of stuff. And
Okay,
it's
so
cool,
it's
man.
weaving some
There's
of that stuff together. By the way, the lore
yeah,
is really interesting to me so far. I really
me
like
too.
it.
Yeah, and I love a good "Where do I go" button. So they got that, which
Uh-huh. But
I'm a
they
big
that's even
sucker
part of the
of.
story, right? The idea that
It
you're a
is, which
weaver, you're
you
a
in any other game, it's just a GPS line. In this game, it's the
Mhm.
strands of destiny or whatever is pointing you in the right
Mm.
direction.
Yep.
It's cool,
Kind of like
and
Ghost of
they kind of.
Tsushima a little bit, right? Like with the wind
Yes,
kind of like
yeah,
taking you
yeah. Where you
somewhere.
again,
Like,
like you, it's
Yeah.
like that is like I know, I forget there's a word for it, but like yeah, when like a mechanic like is real, like you actually feel it, like the character actually
like
feels it or whatever.
integrated into like the yeah
Yeah, it's
yeah.
integrated into the character's perception or whatever. It's just super cool. I like all that stuff. The combat feels good. I think you said that it's a lot like Banishers in terms of like, hey,
Yep.
it it does its job. But again, you're
That's
not going
right.
to be like, well, this is winning best combat at the end of the year.
Right.
But that
Right.
doesn't make it less memorable or anything like that. It just makes it
It's
just makes it
serviceable for the
good. Yeah,
story that you're
serviceable.
playing,
Yeah.
like, yeah. It reminds me of Banishers, and I've seen a lot of comparisons to Kena Bridge of Spirits, which I think is totally fair in
Oh,
Oh,
terms
that's
of
a
okay.
good
its
comparison. Yeah.
in terms of the exploration, some of the platforming, the
and
combat,
it's
this
and it's
yeah.
so far, maybe you can expand on this more, but it's linear, like
Oh, yeah.
it's mission based or stage based, linear, like you'll end and a loading screen will happen and you'll get a trophy that says you finished chapter 2 or whatever. So it's like
Yep.
it's not like that plops you into some giant open
You'll
world or
see a
anything like
cutscene like
that.
this where you travel to the next area. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, when you know you've seen kind of a storybook thing, which I also like that too. There's kind of like a
Yeah.
storybook element where, you know, she's obviously getting some sort of powers or something like that that's
Yep.
via her bloodline or something, you know, and yeah, they open up a pretty good and interesting kind of mystery, or at least something to you know, carrot on the string for you to care about to kind of get you through stuff.
Yep.
And I'm liking it. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely spend some more time with it for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, and the
it doesn't
music's
have
great. You brought up
perfect.
the music.
Oh my gosh, the music. Let's talk about that real
Yeah,
quick. So the music has this real jazzy, bluesy, ominously New Orleans vibe to it.
yeah.
Even during the tense moments, and early in the game, there's a really intense kind of life-threatening chase sequence that you're doing to try to keep up with
Hmm.
something. And I that moment is when the music first hit me. Like, hey, this is really
Yeah.
good and
It's
intense.
more
Like
than
it
it's
maintains the
more than doing
intensity.
its job in terms of creating a vibe. Like again, it's very it's just appropriate. Everything about it's
Yeah.
appropriate, you know.
A lot of original songs too, especially here during this part in chapter 3 as you're helping the catfish, you're meeting some characters, there's some lore there, there's a story there between these two brothers, and they start to play a song towards the end at the climax of this. There's an actual song that is a guy singing with the
Hmm.
background singers and everything, and it's
Mm.
very much this exact story of this side story or this main story, I guess it is. And it's like from the
Oh,
Oh,
like
perspective
the
okay.
of a
lyrics
brother.
are the story. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very interesting. It almost reminded it has a vibe of like sitting on a porch listening to someone tell their life story through a song they wrote last night that's not
Yeah.
quite totally finished, and they're just kind of playing and singing as it comes to them.
Yeah.
There was something to that that really fits with the vibe of this too. That blues
Pretty
element.
cool.
So
Yeah, that's super cool.
yeah, so I really dig the music so far. We already talked about the visuals. The creature design is amazing. Some of the monsters
Yeah.
you see, some so far I've only seen hints of for the most part, but I've seen a couple of that are truly creepy. And I don't mean the shadow monsters that you fight; those are fine. Those are a little more generic, but they work. It's
Hmm.
some of these bigger monsters with personalities, names, like it's like whoa, these are really creative monster designs. So I really love that too. Um, but the gameplay itself is where I think that's what keeps it from being like a instant game of the year contender, top game of the year for me necessarily. For
Hmm.
example, even just jumping and running, it feels like it's 70% of the way there on the way the
Yeah.
movement feels. Like it feels close. But sometimes when a game when you jump, but you feel like you're going a little too vertical and you don't have a lot of control over it, it has that feel to the jump. I don't know how to describe it. Almost like you're
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
too much of a rope a little bit. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
But
that's actually a very good way to describe it. Also, just like just little things like you know, in Uncharted or maybe even Assassin's Creed, it kind of feels like your character like glides, you know, across,
mhm,
you know, climbing stuff. And this, I do a lot of like, okay, I want to jump to the side, and my character will just jump straight up, you know, and it's just like, okay,
right.
you know, we're not, you know, this is not a perfect, you know, platformer by any means, but
Correct. Yeah, the
Like,
level of control. A good example is like Astrobot had nearly perfect feeling
sure.
controls on that
yeah,
platforming. I'm not saying it should feel like that. I'm just saying when you think
yeah,
of
sure.
platforming, it that's what
If
you
it's
look
if it's
to
a
is
spectrum, that's like on the furthest end of it feeling good, you know?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Dan, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna like. It almost sounds like a little bit because I think only Kyle would be able to speak to it. A stellar blade, like how she kind of like.
No, it
Yeah,
feels a
It's
lot
almost
like
like
the
it's
Stellar
like
Blade jumps.
yeah.
Yeah.
okay, where like she
Solar
still
Blade's a
kind of
good
has that
example.
momentum a little bit, like, and it's
Yeah,
you can't quite precisely
But Stellar
land on
Blade jumps
something
actually
sometimes.
feel a little better than this. Like when you're jumping
I
and
would
Oh
say so
swinging
wow,
on
too, and
okay,
that,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is saying a lot for me because I just hated the platforming so much in that game. But like, it
Yeah.
does feel a little better in that game than it does this. But like,
Yep.
okay,
but I don't know. There's not a lot of focus on like wall climbing, and there is some platforming for sure, or whatever. Don't get me wrong,
There
but
is.
like, I
But
don't know.
you've seen in these
I wouldn't
clips,
call
like
this
she
game a
does some
platformer, you
you get
know?
a
yeah,
double jump and a dash pretty quickly in this game.
Hmm.
And then it looks there's even a grapple type of a move. I don't know exactly what that is. So there are elements that are gonna make platforming simpler and more
Hmm.
fun, more fluid. Like even the wall running has helped. So thankfully, it's not just jump from platform A to platform B. Once you get introduced to some of the double jumps and the dashes and things like that, that part of it starts to improve for sure. The combat very much reminds me of Banisters, where you have a pretty simple set. It's actually simpler than the Banisters was, because in Banisters you had two characters. You had a ghost-like character and a real-life character who were working together, and you kind of swapped their powers on the fly as you fought. So there was some complexity to that. And then your enemies, you have to keep an eye on their form to see which version is going to be most effective. Like there's all that kind of stuff with the Banisher's combat, even though it's still at its core is light attack, strong attack, special attack. Like those are kind of your main
Mm.
things. That's kind of what's going on here too. You've got your main attack. You can hold it in for a charged attack, and then you start to unlock these. The magic moves that you do to platform are also used in combat, which is kind of cool. Like you have this pull move that you can pull enemies to you, but also pull items to you if you need to climb on something. Same with push. Same with this bind move that
Yeah,
makes.
every what is it? Like everything that you can use in combat's also something you use for like platforming, like
Yeah,
in the
I
world,
think
which I
so.
like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
I do too. Like the thing that allows old things, like an old broken bridge, for example, you can recall it using your power as a weaver, and the bridge reappears for a few seconds for you to be able to go over it, even though in real life it's collapsed. You can use that to bind enemies in their place and kind of freezes them in their place. So like, it's cool the way that they have implemented that in the combat. But for the
Is
most
there
part,
puzzle elements? Like, is there areas where you're like, I have to like figure out these
So far for
puzzly
me,
type
just
thing?
light. Like I need to move
Okay.
this box over here so I can climb on top of it to get up
Okay.
to where I
it's
need to
yeah,
be.
it still
But I
feels
I need to
introductory
know
to
to.
me as well.
Yeah, right. Maybe it gets a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it becomes more platformy than I'm giving it, credit for too. But right
I do
now
think
it,
the
it
platforming does pick up, but it's mostly what you've already seen, just maybe more of it in a row and maybe a little bit
mhm.
tougher jumps. And as you can see, the environments really do change dramatically. So there's going to be a lot of places to explore. I will say I've been rewarded for taking a look down what looks to be, the path they don't want you to go down, but there's a branch you can jump on. So I jump on it and I follow it around the tree. I go up, jump to the next branch, and boom, there's like a little resource node that you can get your. I forget
Hmm.
what it's called. It's the stuff that you get to. Is it stigma? No, stigma is the bad stuff. There's something that you collect that allows you to
Like
level up.
fluffy something.
The fluff,
I
the
think.
floof,
Yeah,
floof.
floof.
Fluffy
Yeah,
Am
something
I?
like
Am
fingus.
I?
that. Yeah,
I think it's called floof.
it might be.
It's
Yeah.
it's that stuff. Anyway, so all that to say, there are some upgrades about as simple of an upgrade tree as you'll ever see in a game,
Hmm.
unless more of it is just invisible and it kind of opens up, which is possible. It's very very simple. You can add damage to some of your magic moves that are initially just to push them away. You can give yourself a slam move, which is cool. You can jump in the air and slam down on the ground. So it's got a few little things on the ability tree, but it looks like you'll unlock all of it relatively easily just by playing the game and progressing. Like I don't think it'll be a challenge. It's not really RPG. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a story and vibes first, mechanics second game,
yes, yeah,
which is fine but that I actually like those types of games.
yeah,
Yeah,
me
I
too.
mean, back in the day, we would have called this a double A action game. Like this is,
That's right.
but like it's mostly vibes and story, and that's good.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't need to be some like grand action or RPG or whatever. But you know what? RPGs are in everything. We can take a break, right? Like we don't need a
That's right.
we don't
Everything's
need
an
an
Yeah.
RPG.
RPG.
Everything doesn't need
You
to be an
know, I
RPG.
was
You know.
I was chatting with Jeff about this, our long lost podcast co-host, because he was playing this a little bit too and really liking it and talking about like, yeah, it is simpler, but that's okay. And I was like, you know what? I need simple right now because I feel like I've been
Yeah,
playing a
simple's
lot of
good.
complex games. Even playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, both those characters have, as you unlock things, it's like,
That
man,
game's
this gets
complex.
complex between
Yeah,
the two of
there's a lot
them.
going
Yeah,
on.
they're very so. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and all these other games that have come out, it's like, man, I need maybe something a little simpler for a minute. And so this has been good, and that I'm okay with a game that's somewhere in the 7 to 8 out of 10 scale with its combat and platforming. Like it's not bad. I hope it's not coming.
Hmm.
It's not poor. It's above
Yeah.
average, and my both of these things are above average for
Yeah,
sure. Close to good in some cases. It's the visuals, music, story. I mean, even just look at this. Like it's just really a visual treat that looks very AAA, and that to me is more of the 9 out of 10 type experience. It's
yeah.
so good on that front. So I'm loving it. I can't wait. I'm totally gonna finish this game. I can't wait. I'm
It doesn't
thrilled that
seem like
it's
it's going to be one
good.
that's going to be very long or overstay its welcome. Like
I
I haven't looked.
agree.
I imagine it's a 12 to 14 hour game if I had to take a stab at. I guess.
Yeah, I don't remember the total
Oh,
number of chapters because I'm in chapter 4. I think there's 14. No, 12. It's somewhere in that range. I think
Mhm.
so
chapters.
like this is a this is a good, like, this is a win for Xbox, right? This is an exclusive. They finally have something that seems like solid for it's been a while, right? At least
Right.
Yeah,
where
it was
there's
and
kind of a
fresh
general
too.
consent. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like it's new. It's not like well, they got a win with Gears. Like it's not they're not leaning on one of their old towers
Right,
or
right.
pillars. Like this is
That's
Right.
someone
what I mean.
they
Like
gave
something
someone an
new.
opportunity to take a stab at something new, and like I think reviewers are liking it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I again, like I don't know if how they measure success in this, if it's how many downloads or plays or subscriptions around the time that this game
Yeah.
launched or whatever. But like, yeah, I hope it finds some sort of audience and people give it a chance because I don't. But the only game I can think of off the top of my head is Infamous 2, that is like a New Orleans game.
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
So
good
Yeah.
point. Oh, you
if
know
you
what? It
want,
makes me
yeah.
think of Mafia 3 a little bit.
Oh my! I'm so stupid. Mafia 3, absolutely. It's very Mafia. Yeah, that's very New Orleans. Excuse me.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Although
I
it was
mean,
fake
like
New Orleans, right? Whatever they called it.
it is. Yeah, so was
New
Infamous 2. I
LaCroix or
think. I
whatever.
think it was. I think it was called something new, something made up. Also, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, like if you like that vibe, which like you should, it's a cool vibe, especially
It
when you
Yeah.
is.
integrate the music and everything in there. Like, give this one a chance. Like, I think this is a good fun action game that's like very straightforward, pretty linear,
Yep. Yep.
and again gives you something kind of fresh in terms of settings and storytelling.
And I would say if you don't have Game Pass, it will hit a sale at some point. It is on Steam. It's listed in the very positive. I think it's right around the
Oh,
90%
good.
range last time I looked. So like
Nice.
it's just nice when not only is it a new IP,
Yeah,
it's a totally new setting that most of us aren't familiar with. There's a little bit of that uncertainty. They don't really have a track record of making games like this that everyone loves. And
yeah,
so it's just ripe for controversy and criticism and memes and
Oh, for
jokes.
sure.
And yet
yeah.
I've maybe I just haven't seen it. I've
I
seen
haven't seen
virtually
anything
nothing.
mean spirited about this game.
Yeah.
Not yet. Maybe it's coming. I don't know, but yeah,
And
Oh,
it's
I'm
a, it's
sure
a
it exists,
it
but
I'm sure it exists, but like not in the zeitgeist, not like in the
Yeah,
yeah,
mainstream
yeah,
it
yeah.
hasn't
conversation.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
entered the zeitgeist. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
people that I would care about, like, oh wow, you hated this? Shoot, I didn't know. Like, I don't see that anywhere. I'm really
Mhm.
thrilled to see that. Like to me, this feels like the beginning of something special for Compulsion Games, and so
Well,
I'm
and
excited
I
to see
don't
it
know
come.
if We Happy Few was the big win that for this developer either. I think it found an audience, but like it's that game is by no means like a mass appeal game. Whereas like I think this
Correct.
Right.
could be. I think this is a little
Agreed.
more approachable. It's a little more gamey. In terms
Yep.
of what you expect of an action game. So
Yeah.
maybe this is the one that finds the audience. So
Oh, and I will say this too: the main character Hazel, I found her to be likable immediately. Like right
same.
away,
Mm.
like she's kind of in this conflict with her mom. She's an older teenager, probably in the 17-year-old range. It's hard to tell, maybe 18. But there's that kid versus adult transition she's trying to figure out in life. And so she's got conflict with her mom. She's kind of reminiscing of when she was on a track team with her friends and how she used to be a really fast runner. And then this new role is thrust upon her for whatever reason, that she's now this magical weaver who has to save a lot of people. So, but I find her to be likable. She's not, I think this is a deeper conversation that we could get into and probably have to bring in people who are actual experts in it. I feel like sometimes people don't write these intentionally heroic characters the right way and they come off as whiny or
Mm.
entitled or whatever. And it could
Oh,
be
I so agree with that. Yeah,
male or female characters. It happens across the
yeah,
board. But most recently with like Forspoken, for example, interesting setting and concept, but really generally unlikable main character. Like maybe not
yeah.
the whole way through, but generally speaking, that she's a
Well,
really
that
likable character.
yeah.
Mhm.
Forspoken's a good one because it's like the conversation goes in certain angles, but it's like ultimately, at least for me, like the dialogue just seemed like it was very badly written. Like it was just
Right.
Yeah.
and the
Well,
direction of how that voice actress or that actor,
Yep.
because she's been in like movies and stuff too,
Yep.
how she delivered her lines just seemed
Yep.
bad, but
no, yeah,
she's
it
Well,
not
didn't
this
have
like
great
character,
directing. Like
not good
right,
it's
right,
directing.
that's what I
like
Well,
mean,
and this
yeah.
it's hard.
character,
That's gonna be so hard to not have like good direction when you're doing like voice acting.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah, yeah.
acting against anybody or anything.
this character has empathy, and that makes her immediately
Hmm.
more likable. Like for example, you'll be exploring and you'll see some note or read a letter or see a sign or something that indicates something bad or sad happened to someone in the family, and she always expresses some kind of, oh, I hope they're okay, or like I hope that like there's these little moments of empathy that aren't necessary, but
Mm.
it just adds to her character. She's like a protector. She's someone who cares about other people, and she has a
Yeah.
sense of humor. Like there's lots of moments where
Hmm.
something crazy happens and she's just like, "Oh, hell no." Like I don't think so. Like I'm
Yeah.
leaving. And I like that. It adds to this layer of she's funny, she's empathetic, but she feels like I don't know, like fully thought through as a character. So I do like the lead so far
Well, yeah,
of
and
the
I
games.
don't always love like a assholey put off main character either, who's just always like,
Right.
ugh, this is so annoying. Like, and Forspoken was kind of like that too, where like she and like
That's what I mean.
the
Yeah.
Gauntlet or
Yeah.
whatever, whatever
Yep.
her, I forget
The
whatever her
cuff.
buddy was
This
in that game, the
cuff.
cuff. Yeah, they're like their whole dynamic was like we're just kind of assholes to each other, and I'm like, this is so grating. Like, it's kind of fun, when someone's snarky every once in a while, but like the whole concept of like a personality just being a main
Yeah.
character who's like put off and like, oh, why am I doing this and why am I here? I go, I don't know, dude. Like, you're ruining my time, like, so fuck
Yep.
up a little bit. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, even in
Yeah, yeah,
especially
yeah.
in chapter 3, Kyle, as you get to the end of it, as the story kind of wraps up, that main kind of storyline with these that involves these brothers, she shows kind of empathy throughout, and I don't mean that as a weakness. I saw it as like a real strength. Like this is someone who is heroic
Mm,
because the way she cares for other people, and it's shown in a way that's like makes her really brave. I don't know how else to describe it. But when you think about
yeah.
characters in books and movies and games that we've liked, even like Geralt, who is as stone cold, seemingly uncaring, but he, of course, part of what makes him so interesting when you play The Witcher 3, especially, is he clearly cares about people. He just doesn't
Yeah.
express it
And
super
you get
well.
so many examples of him doing it too. In a
Yeah,
very show,
Um,
in a very show don't tell type of way also.
that's right. That's right.
I
So
think
anyway,
that's a good
I
angle to take it in because I was gonna actually say Kratos with the two newer God of Wars because you have old school
yeah,
Kratos that was very like basically one
Old
dimensional
school
except for
Kratos
three.
screamed his entire way through 4 video
Yeah,
games, and the new Kratos has like
Embers.
nuance, and I don't mean to like joke on those games, but like
Yeah,
that's an example to me. Again, I know people like original Kratos of just being kind of
right.
a bad main character, where
well,
he's
yeah,
just like Matt.
those were like 10 out of 10 gameplay and like 6 out of 10 character development
Yeah, yeah, and I get it,
Right,
and I
at
know
right.
best.
people are so mad at that. It's like he's supposed to be rage personified, like that's who he's supposed to be, and blah blah blah.
He still
Dude,
is,
I
man.
get it.
He's just yeah,
I
But
just mean that like it doesn't make for
yeah,
a complex depth filled character,
right.
but that's why in
like
God of War 3, in my opinion, 3 is the best because it's still there, but there's nuance in 3. You start to see some
You're right.
nuance of him actually like being
3's
it started
physically
growing a
kicking
little
a
underrated.
bit.
damn.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3's an underrated game, by the way, with one of the best boss fights across the
I
series.
mean, 3
Dude, the
isn't that
boss
the one
fights
that
in them.
opens up on like the where you're climbing up
Yeah, he's climbing up
the yeah?
Mount
Is that game
Olympus. Mount
underrated? I mean,
Olympus.
wasn't that game like a technical
3
marvel? I
3
don't
is
think it's a lot
so
of people's
good.
favorite. I think you're right. I think a lot of people
I
don't
think
call
it's
3
kind of
their favorite.
overlooked. It was around the generational shift, I want to say, with consoles. Like there's
Because
something about 3 that yeah,
3 was so spectacular in terms of like
so good.
again like
Yeah.
before we got Uncharted like the train level, we got this thing where it's like you're on this level that's
Yeah.
moving and like there's physics and like I just even though I wasn't a huge fan of the original 3 God of Wars, I was like this is like whatever is going
Yeah.
on here is
Yeah.
really something special,
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so South of Midnight, I highly recommend it. I'm really enjoying it. I think there's a lot of games that and I think all of us do this to a certain extent. There's a lot of games that I'll start and I'm like, "Hey, this is kind of fun," but I know in my heart that I'm not going to play more of it. This one
Mhm.
is the
Mhm.
opposite. Like that's what I'm going to play
90%
tonight.
of Game Pass games are like that for me, where I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't think I'm gonna
it's
beat
true.
this.
It's true. Now this
But
next
yeah, this
game
much
is
was
one
cool.
of those. This next game is one of those that I don't think I'm necessarily going to put a ton more time into, but I want to share about it a little bit because it came out to surprisingly high reviews. A lot of people talking about it, so it's worth at least addressing a little bit. And that's this game called Blueprints. Have you guys heard about Blueprints?
Mhm. Yeah.
I keep hearing about it and I had no idea what it was. No clue.
So I'll pause it right
Kind
here
of
real
came out of
quick. So
nowhere. Yeah.
of course, it's called Blueprints, as in prince and princess, king and queen, right? But the whole concept, if you can see here on this freeze frame, are blueprints, like for building something. So it's got this
Okay.
double meaning to it. And
Okay.
so think of it like a Hades type of a game in terms of when every time you do a run, you will pick which door to go through. So
Mm.
that's the Hades part. But the blueprints piece comes in because, as you can see here, you are randomly given some rooms that you can draft. So you've selected
Mm.
to open the blueprints. Which room do you want to draft? So you can even see here, like the way the doors kind of. Can you see where my
Mhm.
cursor is pointing?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. So like this will even determine on this map that's, where is it? It's way down here. See this map down here?
Yeah.
This is giving you a
Yeah,
map
yeah,
of
yeah.
the mansion that you're kind of building for that run. And you can lock yourself off if you pick the wrong room, for example. Like all of a sudden you can't progress because you picked the one that doesn't have a door on the other side or something like that. So there's an element of puzzle to it, sort of there. So that's how the game structure works. How it actually works, and I'll hit play on this so you can see it. It's a first person game. You're actually walking around. It's got a really cool style to it, I think. The movement and the art style, I think, is cool. I think it looks
I
very
like the
nice.
art
It's very
style a lot,
clean.
man.
Yeah, the art style is nice. The gameplay, I would describe, I think this is an IGN review. The gameplay, I would describe almost like an escape room element
Mm.
to it because you're given like a letter. Think of when you go to an escape room and they're like, here's the setting, and the professor left this journal and you have to figure out how to get out. Good luck. And like it's usually pretty short, right? It's usually a little bit. They might give you like your goal is to get out or to finish something or whatever in an escape room. In this case, you're told you need to get to this special secret 46th room of my mansion. This is like your uncle or someone who's left it in his will. But if you can't, then your inheritance is going to be lost. So good luck. Get to the 46th room. So the 45 rooms are available to everybody. The 46th room is when you're trying to get to. So it already has this kind of escape roomy type goal, but that's all you're given. You have to start looking around. You don't know what you can interact with till you get close to it. You can kind of, oh, I can move this picture. Oh, I can. I looked at a painting of him, and the candelabra behind him was kind of bent on the left side, but in the room it was straight. So I went over to it and I interacted with it and pulled it. It opened a painting that then had a safe
Mm.
behind it. But then I'm like, I don't have a code, so I have to keep exploring and see if I can find a code for this thing. So it's that kind of thing. You're going to be finding letters and hearing, I think there's some audio clues as well. So the whole goal is to get to this room 46, and you can see there day one. It's just got a really cool style, and the whole concept of solving this mystery with very little guidance. I see the appeal, but if you don't like things like escape rooms, I could see how it's
Yeah.
not going to click necessarily for you. But if you like solving mysteries, if you like um, escape room type activities, I think this is a really fun one. If you
This seems
watch,
like a
go ahead.
I was gonna say this seems like a game that would be an absolute nightmare to create. Like
Like a choose
having
your own
to think,
adventure kind of thing. Yeah.
like to have to like think, like because this 45, you said there's 45 rooms, right?
Yeah.
You're having to figure out ahead of time how all of this can connect appropriately, but like thinking of the player putting rooms in all these different spots, but the clues have to like still make sense to like I don't know, this seems insane. This seems like I don't even get how they made this like
So there's a limitation to how much you can go, and this the way you can reset it. Number one, you can always pause it and hit call it a day, and you'll leave. One of the rules that the uncle sets up for you is you can't stay the night in the mansion. So anytime you
okay.
decide to call it a day, you have to leave and come back. And he said, I don't know how to explain it, but the house is different every time you visit it. It's that kind of introduction
Mm.
to the
Yeah,
layout's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
change. That's because you're drafting the layout every time. And so the idea would be you start to learn which rooms you need because some rooms will be
Mm,
like literally just there for resources. It gives you maybe some coins or some gems, which are the things you collect. Or maybe it adds more steps to that run. So if you see in the top left here, where's my cursor? There it is. See this top left,
yeah, yeah.
34. As this
Mm-hmm.
person is walking through, I think it'll reset. As they hit each room, even if it's one you've revisited, the number goes down. It ticks down for every room that you enter. So every
Okay.
time you enter a new room, but some rooms have a bonus where it will add that back. So if you unlock the guest room, that's a room where you can rest and you get 10 more steps added to your total. So there's like these little things where if you feel like you need a room to almost like heal in a way, you can do that.
Okay.
You can find keys, you can find gems. In some rooms, you can't draft them unless you have a certain number of gems. Like there's an observatory, I think it was the first one that I drafted that required a gem. So I had to go back
Mm,
into a room and draft a room somewhere else where I could get a gem and then go back and I could draft the observatory. Um, but even the observatory, there's kind of a puzzle in that room where you have to figure out how to work the microscope and the ceiling and move things around. Because if you can spot the right constellation, you'll unlock more gems or coins or things like that. So you're right, Dan. Like the complexity of this is really intricate and
yeah.
interesting, but I think that's why it's getting such rave reviews. Is that it is
Sure.
like a puzzle solver, escape room fans
Yeah.
a dream. Like it's that kind of a game, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Interesting.
really cool. It's an interesting concept for a game for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Not something
yes,
I would
you're
play, but it does seem incredibly interesting.
like gem requirement. Like some rooms will require coins or gems or something.
Yeah.
The
And
pantry
they're
you
just
will only
permanently
use.
unlocked, right?
It is unlocked on your map for that run, right? Yep.
Oh, for
And I
that
think the
run.
shape
Okay.
of the house can even change as well. But I did
Okay.
discover that like if it like for example, if you want to draft a room, I'm trying to think of an example on this little map over here. But if you want to draft a room and it's already closed off, and but your room you're drafting has a door that direction, it's just a boarded off door. So like you'll
Hmm.
still lock yourself kind of into it. You can paint yourself into a
Yeah.
corner and have to call it a day. So there's all these different elements you have to consider. I could see it being a game that you could play with others watching, playing, thinking if they're
Right.
with you. You know,
Yeah. For sure.
maybe a good stream game given if the right streamer and right audience, maybe too.
Yeah.
But it could be
Yeah, for
Could
sure.
be frustrating as well. I could see that.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
anyway.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Blueprints. I like the double meaning of the title too. At first, I didn't. I was like, "Why is it called?" Oh,
No,
got it.
that's great.
Pretty
Yeah.
pretty clever. It's pretty clever.
Pretty clever. So anyway, that is that one. I want to go through just rapid fire some other games that are out. We'll start with this one called The Castle of Alchemists,
Oh.
which
Oh.
has a really cool style to
Look
it.
at this.
Yeah, yeah. Steam said I would like it because I played Mage Seeker, so I totally see that. But this looks much more like bullet helly than Mage Seeker was.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this called?
It's called Castle of Alchemists. It was in early access, and now it is at 1.0 release. I had never heard of it until today or yesterday.
Now
So
it's on a wish list.
yeah,
Dude,
how
that guy's
cool does I mean?
jacked.
He is jacked, and I just love this style, man. Like when
Oh.
people do this
This is
style
so
right,
cool.
yeah, it looks great. So I'm excited. I did download. There's a demo for it, so I downloaded the demo. I want to see how it feels to play that kind of thing. But
It's only $11. It looks like, or $12. Very cheap.
is it really?
Yeah, it's like 11. Yeah,
Wow.
$11.99.
That's
It's
a
on
good
sale right
price.
now. It's usually $14.99, so it's $11.99 right now for its release.
So here you go. Yeah, 1.0
That's
release
cool.
is out now. Castle of Alchemists. There you go. If you needed the title.
Cool.
This is why I like doing this, man. I like highlighting these little games that none of us really have on the radar, but you never know if it's like, oh, what is this? Let me go.
Yeah.
Let me go
You just
grab
gotta
this
see.
one.
You gotta see something in action. This is why I love gameplay trailers. Just show me the thing I'm gonna play. It's a video game.
That's right.
You know.
That's
Get your
right.
CG bullshit.
No, keep
Yeah,
the
get your
CG stuff in. Dan's
cutscenes.
wrong. Nope, leave it in. We can do
All
it
right,
all.
Kyle.
We can have it all.
Both. Both.
We can have it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me the
We need to
cutscene and
stop
the
living in
gameplay.
it. We need to stop living in an either or world and just say
Oh,
yes.
I
Hey,
like
I never
that.
said either or. I never said either or.
Yeah, I like that. Kyle with the inclusivity bomb. That's good. That's good. All right, this next
progressive.
one is a super
so
wholesome. They're calling it like a chef RPG game called Kitchen Sink Aloha.
Ooh.
So it's
Okay.
this. I mean, I don't. To me, I saw this and I thought maybe Dan, but I don't know if you like something that's this cute and kind of whatever. But
I love
anyway,
cute shit.
they,
Love cute
they
shit.
call it
Sounds
a
fun.
a story-driven cooking RPG. So
Okay.
they had the word RPG, had cooking.
I like the idea of a cooking RPG. That sounds kind of nice.
In Hawaii. In Hawaii. That
Yeah.
sounds
In
yeah.
Hawaii.
You throw
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. So there you go.
What was
And
this
it's got a
one
map.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This one is called Kitchen Sink SYNC Aloha. See if I can get to the
Okay.
title of it. Here it is.
Yeah, I think this looks pretty pretty fun.
I'm
actually.
wish listing this one too.
Kitchen
Oh.
Sink Aloha.
It's
it looks-
story rich is what is one of the genre things. Too,
Is that one of the
so,
tags?
Yeah,
Story
yeah.
rich.
So
Is
I
what?
mean, you could probably tell that story rich.
Story
so,
Story rich.
Yeah. You did see a lot of floating heads talking, so I imagine
There were a lot of floating heads talking.
Yeah,
That's
get a
funny.
little
It's
story
not
there.
going to say story poor. Like story sucks.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a fun tag? Yeah.
Yeah.
Management, crafting, story poor.
Story poor. Yeah, story poor. Good luck with that.
All
All right, so this next one is a sequel to a game I had never heard of before, but I guess fans of it, per usual with smaller games like this, fans are hardcore and they're pumped for this. So this is a game called, I don't know if it's pronounced Gadonia 2 or Jadonia. It's with a G, so I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But it has an MMO look to it. I think there's
It
some
does.
survival and crafting elements to it as well.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty interesting. I kind of like the cartoony art style. It keeps it simple. It makes me think maybe it'll run super smooth with the simplistic
Reminds me of
visuals.
World of Warcraft.
A little
Reminds
World
me
of
of.
Warcraft meets kind of some of the
Yeah.
more survival-y stuff, like your Valheims, where you can build a house,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
of maybe Enshrouded. Like it's got little elements that are intriguing to me. Dinosaurs, that's fun.
I'm
But then,
sold
yeah, you're
for
right.
that
The
one.
World of Warcraft, it does
Oh,
have an MMO
dude, it was
look to
gliding.
it.
Yeah, no, I meant more aesthetically, like the actual like aesthetic and
Yeah,
the kind of plainness. Not plain, but I don't know. It just looks
No,
like
I
a
get what you're
like
saying. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah,
stylistically plain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
yeah. So
it
this
does look like
is
WoW to me as well. Yeah.
so this is out now. I think it's pronounced Gadonia too. That's how I would. If you're gonna force me to pick a pronunciation, that's
Yeah,
what
if
I'm
we're gonna
gonna
do the GIF nonsense, we're gonna go with
Yeah. It's
GIF.
Geodonia. I don't know.
go.
Geodonia.
I like that.
There's no O. I don't know why I said that.
But that's what it is. That's what it is.
All right, this next one is a remake of an old school game called Snow Bros, which I don't remember at all.
Snow
No.
bro.
But it's called Snow
Bro.
Bros
Snow
Special.
bro.
Snow Bros 2 Special.
Wow.
It looks really Japanese.
It
Yeah,
does.
very Japanese. Yeah, very Japanese.
So
This is
looks
actually
kinda
the
funky.
wholesome. This is the wholesome wintry version of Step Bros. When you start talking about Step
Stuff,
Bros.
yeah.
Yeah,
It-
yeah,
like,
Snow
I
Bro.
kind of thought Bomberman for a second, but I'm not really sure exactly what kind of game this is. But
I
Yeah,
don't
I don't know.
either. It kind of
Oh,
looks a little bit like old, like
Mario Bros.
like old Mario.
Yeah.
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 yeah, a little bit of that for
Where
sure.
the enemies
So,
come out of the pipes and they come out the sides.
Yeah,
and
and
they
you
come
can go
after.
through the
Yeah,
side and come out the other side.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, here's the next one. This is a remake called Commandos Origins. If you liked those strategy games from back in the day, I know some people, especially PC gamers, Commandos was a lot of people grew up on it. They love this series. I know it's been kind of quiet. The series has, but it
Mhm.
is pretty fun. It's like more of a stealthy RTS, stealthy squad based RTS type of a game
Hmm.
where you move your small squad of soldiers. I'm pretty sure it's set during World War II. But anyway, you're moving them through this isometric RTS view. But as you can see here, you're usually doing
Ooh,
stealthy, sneaky stuff,
that's cool.
which is kind of cool. Yeah. So
Old school
Commandos
Metal Gear.
Origins. Yeah, just like Metal Gear. Right, Kyle?
Yeah. It's
Metal
exact.
Gear.
It's might as well be a clone.
Might as well be a
I
clown. There you
wonder
go. Commandos
if the clap.
Origins.
I wonder if the clap of their ass cheeks are alerting those guards. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah. I wonder.
It might be.
This must
If
be.
you guys don't know what
This is.
if you guys don't know what he's talking
Is
about,
this-
if you're confused, this was pre-recording banter, so don't get too concerned with what Dan
Yeah.
just said. Yeah, that was a
You gotta pay
callback
for the
that no
Patreon
one.
for that.
That's
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
Patreon only. Yeah. And how do you get the
This is an
Patreon?
ongoing series, right?
It is. Yeah. So
Commandos?
this is
Yeah.
like the. Yeah, this is. I believe it's a remake of the original one, or maybe it's a prequel. Maybe it's a new game. It's a prequel. But I assumed it was a remake. Maybe it could
One
be
of
a
your
prequel.
buddies definitely dies at some point, and it's really sad. That's what I'm picking.
That
up.
is
Sure.
1,000% happening. Yeah, might be one of these safer predictions I've ever heard. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I come
Okay.
here and I just say the truths, you know.
This next one, I downloaded the demo. I am excited to try
Ooh.
this one. It's called.
What is?
So it reminds me
this?
of that War of Mine game, but it's a zombie one called Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days.
What?
So it's a 2D game, 2D 3D, right? So it's like you're going on a 2D plane as a character.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
there's
I apparently have this on my wish list already. So
Okay, there you
But
go.
You're
Nice.
still blowing my. I don't know how because I don't think I've ever heard of it. But
Yeah,
This
like the
does look
peeking
kind of
through.
familiar. This does
Yeah.
look kind of familiar.
this
I think
does
it
look
was
like This War Is
revealed
Mine.
at something.
This is.
Mhm.
Oh, you know
So I
what?
think it looks
did
great.
this come out during the whatever stream happened this week? Was this on that?
It might have. I think it might have been an
The
early
Triple
access.
I
I can't remember if
Interactive
it
or
was, but
whatever?
it might have been on the Triple I show. It might have been on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
This
got a
is a
great
lot
look to
fun.
it. The zombies look really cool. The obviously the action there looks pretty awesome. So I'm down for this, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited to try it. Yeah. So
That's
there is a
all you
demo
need to pitch
also.
me as. Like it's This War Is Mine, but with instead of war, it's zombies. I'm like, okay,
It's
yeah,
zombies.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Just like what Alters is just This War Is Mine, but sci-fi. I'm like, yeah, I'm in on that. I don't.
Yeah. Count me
I like
in.
that template.
So there you go. Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days is out now, and there's a demo if you want to give it a look first. All right, I know we've talked about a couple different versions of games like this where you're making movies in Hollywood, but gotta mention them
Oh,
when they come out because I know all of us kind of
oh,
like these. This one's called Hollywood Animal. I kind of like the isometric city building view of this one.
yeah.
Looks like it's a pretty messed up
Oh,
town you got to rebuild, so I like that.
SimCity.
But I mean, a little bit, right? A little bit of SimCity
Yeah.
look to it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So you take the helm of a major Hollywood studio at the dawn of sound cinema and guide it through the decades of creative achievements and glamour, debauchery and dark deeds, tough choices and unpleasant compromises. So
I love
basically, it's the
debauchery.
rise of nations, but in Hollywood. You're going through the history of some film stuff. I have no idea if it's great, but I like the way that the trailer looks. So I thought I'd highlight that one too. And
You
that is
said the
called
dark days and stuff like that, so there's got to be a decision at some point where you'd have to decide whether or not to give like your cast drugs, like they're demanding drugs, and you're
Absolutely.
like, okay, yeah.
Or like one of your most dynamic actors committed some horrible crime, but you're about to make a lot
Cover
of
up
money with it.
or let go.
Yeah, cover up yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A Baldwin
So.
incident, if you will.
Yeah, right.
That movie's coming out, by the way, like soon.
It's
I know, that's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, it's so
that's
insane.
I can't believe that movie is still being whatever. Okay. So Hollywood Animal is out now. You can give that one a look. Okay, a couple more real quick. Crashlands 2. Have you guys heard of Crashlands 2? I had never played Crashlands 1, so I don't know anything about this.
No.
It's got a real silly, as you can see, bouncy type look. This
Sure.
isometric game. They call it a let's see. Where is it? Oh, I think it's also a mobile game. So maybe that will scare you away, but it's on PC.
Ooh.
Ooh. But I think there's elements of kind of crafting and exploring, and I mean, it looks pretty. As you can kind of see if you're watching exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Exploring,
looks like Don't
crafting.
Starve to me a little bit.
Maybe it might be a little Don't Starvey.
Hmm.
Yeah, potentially.
I like Don't Starve.
So yeah, you can kind of build your hideout and stuff, which I think people like doing that. I know I like doing that.
Hideouts are cool.
But I have no idea if it's good or fishing. Come on, there's fishing.
Yeah.
So anyway, Crashlands 2 is out now, so you can give that one a look. Another sequel is out. You guys remember Monaco from a bunch of years back?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It was like this co-op heist game, and so they made a second one. So Monaco 2 is now out. So you can give that one a look at.
Cool.
The whole idea is you each class has different skills that'll help you with the heist, whether it's busting down a wall or cracking a safe or whatever. So yeah, I like the concept of something like this, but again, it comes back to like, do I have the right group of people to play with? I do like that there's couch co-op though. That is very cool for a game like this. I think that's fun.
Yeah, and it said you could play like by yourself, so that is at least possible.
Yeah. So I like the concept of games like this. So yeah, Monaco 2 is out now. All right. Also wanted to highlight that the remastered version of the Talos Principle is out now. So I think it's
somebody let Jeff know. Let Jeff know.
Yeah, someone go tell Jeff.
Calling him now.
Yeah. So that is out. I know people love this game, and the second one came out, I think, last year. Was it? I think it was last year. So the remaster, of course, as you can see there with the little scan over, it does look way better.
Well, it does look way better. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, foliage.
Yeah.
Dude,
more
that
leaves.
is so good.
Yeah. So there you go. So Talos Principle remastered is out now. All right, that's it for our new game Blitz. How's everyone feel? We good?
I'm blitzed, yeah.
Good Blitzkrieg. Good Blitzkrieg.
That was a good Blitzkrieg. You're right. All right, so I did not write down a whole bunch of headlines that I need us to cover. I didn't do that. So instead,
I heard there was no news this week. So
there was no news, nothing negative, that's for sure. All good stuff. All good stuff.
We can sit here and just be angry about the misleading May 8th date for the Switch 2 pre-order.
Yeah.
But like when you click on that article that you sent, it still does say that the pre-orders through Nintendo do start then.
Yeah, like the first wave of emails is supposed to still hit on May 8th.
So I don't know why it says it got proven false, because like that article you sent still says.
I think here's what happened. I think Nintendo said we're going to do, and they actually said from the beginning, the first wave of invites will go out in May, first week of May. And they might have even put a date, but I know they said early May.
Yeah.
And all of the pre-orders will go up on April 9th. Of course, April 9th is the date that didn't happen. That was a few days ago. We don't know
Yeah.
when that one's set. I don't know if this is the case, but I wonder if people saw, oh, there's going to be pre-orders going out in early May. That's the new date. And I wonder if
Mm-hmm.
there was nothing changed, but that was just the Nintendo pre-orders
Yeah,
that have
so it
always
does sound
been
like
set
that's
for that
just the
date.
Nintendo pre-orders, and there's no word on when retailer pre-orders. So that also could mean that retailer pre-orders kind of start early, like I guess they were always anticipating to. It sounded like the retailer pre-orders are going to go on first, and then Nintendo was going to do
Yeah.
theirs always in May.
I wouldn't be
Uh,
surprised if the retailer pre-orders hit this coming week, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see those till May either, just at the way things are going. I have no idea what to
Yeah, well,
expect.
another thing just got passed or paused today, where like no electronic is going to get tariffs on them right now, at all.
From China, right?
That
Ah,
that just from yeah. Well, I forget because I know China is
China.
still getting the squeeze put on them, but it sounded like all Samsung, all phones, all they even said the
Mm.
Switch, like nothing electronic is going to get tariffed as of right
uh-huh.
now, or at least
Okay.
This
change.
might be
Everything gets tariffed. It's just not the new tariffs. It's not going to get the
the
new
fact that
ones.
it's like
I don't know. I'm
singling
not
out
an economist.
electronics. It makes me wonder
Yeah.
because we know that Elon Musk is a big nerd and plays things like
Oh,
Doom a
sure.
lot. I'm like, I wonder if he went to him and was like, "Hey, don't mess with our video games," you know?
It's like, daddy, I need
Dad,
my Switch
Dad.
too. I need my Switch too.
I don't know. Listen, all I know is that the more we've talked about the Switch 2 and all that, I want to get your guys' thoughts on the comparisons to the Wii U. And I know it's not necessarily a headline, but I've just seen it in the conversation. I'm curious what you guys think about. Okay, so we had the Wii, which was a, oh my gosh, Nintendo is not dead. They're back. They're still around. Look what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Weaker console, and yet still they just dominated the industry. They kind of changed the way we looked at video games and introduced a whole new group of people to them. For all the
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses of the Wii, it was an incredible console. Like what they did incredible things with it, just culturally with the Wii.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the Wii U came out. It was one of the most lackluster and confusing announcements to start with. The rollout was
Mm-hmm.
very odd,
It's a
and the
peripheral,
marketing.
right?
Yeah, the marketing didn't make sense. The naming of it didn't make sense. Now, if they had called it Wii 2, I do wonder would that simple change have helped? I don't know. I don't know. Like if they had made it clearly a sequel, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But looking at the Switch, Nintendo's back. Oh my gosh, here they are. Like they don't even need a handheld anymore. They figured out the secret sauce, all of this stuff. And here comes the Switch 2. It's more of that. It's a more powerful version of that. Like people who are whining about the specs, it's just a recoding of the same. It's not. It's clearly a much more powerful piece of tech. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it's still going to be behind, right? It's going to be behind the regular
Right.
current
Right.
gen of consoles, let alone like the PS5 Pro. So it's definitely behind.
Mm-hmm.
And it does have a little bit of that Wii U smell to it. Just something about it. It's a similar name.
Yeah.
It's after a big success. The way they marketed the launch was a little weird. What do you guys think?
I use the term like ego, like obviously the parallel to the Wii U is not exact, but we even said it in chat. There's an ego that every console
Yeah,
manufacturer gets after a big win.
that's right.
PS2 big win. So Sony comes out dick swinging with the PS3 and it's
Get a
$600.
second
Get a
job, you
second job.
losers.
Yeah, get a second job, you losers. Xbox 360 big win. Xbox One comes out. If you don't want an Xbox One, get it. We have a product for you. It's called the Xbox 360. It's just like
Oh,
this is not a Nintendo problem. This is just like a coming off of a win ego problem,
Oh
like
yeah.
business
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
And I smell that. That's what I smell.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
like there is even Doug Bowser recently was just like, well, if you can't afford a Switch 2, like we still want to welcome you in our universe, so come on in and get a Switch
yeah.
1,
So
and
maybe
it's
not
like,
as overtly egotistical, but it
yeah,
still feels like it a little
yeah,
bit,
no,
right?
it's packaged in there. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
packaged a little better, but when you unravel
yeah,
it, you're like, this is the same message. You're just,
yeah.
hey, you pores, we have something for you. It's called the Switch or whatever. And like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of like stink going on right now. Even Nintendo, like they keep on doubling down with like, well, we assess the value of these things, and this
Mm.
is just what it costs now. You have an
Yeah,
easy out. Just go, inflation sucks, guys. This is just the world we live in now. You can
yeah,
blame. There's something for you to blame.
yeah,
You don't have to, but like for whatever reason, they're
It's
like,
still
we want to
businesses
we want
being
to
done.
take it. We want to
yeah,
take it on the chin. We assessed it, and you know what? Our games are worth 80, and you can suck it if you don't think so. And so there is a little bit of ego there. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I'm way more excited for the Switch 2 than I ever was the Wii U. I bought a Wii U, but
Same.
like there was a reluctancy walking into it there was a guilt after like the transaction went through and the bank statement hit. I'm just kind
There
of like,
was
I
guilt.
don't know. I don't know if this was a good move. And then you get it home and like you start playing with it and you're like, I don't know. I don't think I'm
I
gonna feel
don't
any of that
know.
with the
Yeah,
Switch
I didn't
2,
feel
you
I
know?
didn't feel that. I actually did kind of like the Wii U, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't there. Yeah, I wasn't there for
Do you
that
think the
you
one.
were
comparison
you were
makes sense here, Dan? Do you think the comparison between Wii U
Oh
and
yeah,
Switch
well,
2
it's
works?
it's funny. You know what? I'm gonna just take credit for it because literally that first unveiling, I was like, "There's a Wii U energy about this. There's a Wii U energy." So somebody heard me and they took it. So I want
You did
credit.
say
I
that
want
in the
credit.
last episode, I believe, but I know you also said
I
that
did.
on social media. So yeah. Yep.
No, but seriously, there definitely is. Yeah, like what Kyle's saying with ego, and yeah, that's happened in the past.
It's got
So
that vibe.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's just a vibe of it. But I think unfortunately in this situation too, there is just kind of the whirlwind of just yeah the inflation and all of this like scariness with the video game industry
Mm.
and things just being way too expensive. Like making video games is too expensive. And then yeah, our dumbass president doing dumbass president things, which is just effing up the whole world and just like all of that stuff shipping around the planet. So like that, there's all these elements, all of them just it's a giant whirlwind of shenanigans. But yeah, like I was saying, it's like you have a thing that you can blame, like it's right over there. But it's like businesses are just so weird, and we've had this conversation. Why can't they just like speak like normal people and be like, yeah, that shit right there, it sucks.
Yeah,
It's
you
right
the
there.
stuff
Yeah,
that
They
they
just
say
don't
feels
do it.
so PR-y and rehearsed,
Yeah,
and Doug
yeah,
Bowser,
it
like we've
does.
liked this guy up until like he's having an Xbox guy. Why am I blanking on his name? A Phil
Du-
heel
Oh, Phil
turn.
Spencer.
Weirdly, yeah,
Yeah.
where he's
Phil-
having like a
Yeah.
yeah,
Phil
yeah, yeah.
Spencer heel turn, like which feels
Yeah.
weird. It feels weird to live in a timeline where like Nintendo's the bad guy now, kind of.
Yeah.
Even though again, like none of this is really their fault. The only thing that's really their fault is that like it seems like they're shutting the door on their hey we're a thing for everybody type of platform.
Sure.
And what I mean by that, sure they're still making E for everybody games, but like no kid is saving up their lawnmower money $500 to get this. I just
That's a
don't think it's
lot of money.
approachable now. It's a lot of
Yeah.
Skrilla, and it's a big
Yeah.
ask for a parent, a middle class to lower class parent to drop five. Like it's not, the door is not as open for everybody, and it kind of feels against like the company's golden rule or golden idea or whatever. I'm an adult, I can afford things, so like I'll get one if I want one, but like I'm also trying to like see it objectively. Like I
Yeah.
understand also the door is shutting for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
And that just seems
Yeah.
that feels weird as well. That's another
It
weird
does.
thing that's kind of around this announcement.
I was saying that to Dan last week too, of like, as we were talking about a parent going to get their kid a Nintendo console, and you see the Switch Lite for 199, and you see the Switch 2 for 449.
Yeah.
I mean, unless your kid is a super video game follower, which he might be or she might be, that's fine. And maybe you don't have a choice. You got to get the Switch 2. But for a lot of parents, it's like, well, I'm gonna get the super cheap one. It looks like it's
Yeah.
the same thing. Let me just get
I
that.
will say
Like,
though,
Mario's on it.
a
Yeah.
yeah,
a big pro, and this is also why I didn't mind the Wii U. A big pro is backwards compatibility. We
big time.
for years, whenever a
Mhm.
console is like, "Oh, sorry guys, we're not there," it's like, like, what are you doing? Come on,
You mean like
you have to
PS4 from
let.
PS3?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Nintendo's
You
been like,
have.
doing a good job at this for a while, though. Like all the way back to the Game Boy Advance, that still played Game Boy games. You know what I mean? So it's like this has been Nintendo's
That's
bread
right.
and butter for a long time, and like, but they've only gotten better at it. You know what I mean? They've only cared more about backwards compatibility, and they're the
Didn't the
only people
DS
that feel
have
that
a
way at the
advance?
Xbox in recent years.
Didn't the DS have a Game Boy Advance slot? No, did it?
No, wait, the original DS
On original one, yeah, it did on the
didn't
bottom.
it?
Game Boy
Yeah,
I
Advance.
I thought.
Game
think
Boy
it
I
had
think
a
you're
Advance
Game
did,
Boy
right.
yeah,
Advance slot.
I think you
yeah,
might be
yeah.
right. Why do I not
But
have a
not
clear memory
3DS
of that?
though. But not
Not
3DS.
3DS, no. But the
Yeah, but
3DS could
DS
play,
did.
3DS games, and like it's just there's
Right, right,
always
yeah,
the door is always revolving, which
Right.
I do like about that, and it feels just again they're doubling down on that. They're being so transparent about which games aren't going to work immediately. They're aware of the reasons they're not working immediately, and they're working on
Right.
it around the clock, and it's just like I don't see. I mean, again, like I just praised Xbox for kind of being like happy about backwards compatibility, but they did like 100 and something games. They're like, okay, we're done. They didn't keep the foot on the gas on that one. Whereas like Nintendo's like pedal to the metal on this particular ideology. So, which I like.
Right.
So
That's good.
I do agree with the price thing. I do think that that's a big deal, and especially for a parent. Like if a kid explains to their parent, like, "Hey, mom, dad, like I know this is like crazy expensive, or whatever, but like I can still play those other games too. Like there's still like you're not gonna
Yeah.
have to like out the gate buy me all these games. I can still play
Hmm.
like the 30, 40, 50 games I have over here. So I
Yeah.
think that's
Day
why
one.
backwards
Yeah.
compatibility is so important. Yeah,
And the
exactly.
smart kid
So
won't
Yeah.
mention the $80 to $90 price tag on the new game.
sure,
They just won't
yeah,
mention it.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Keep
of
that to
course, of
themselves.
course. Yeah, you gotta
Well,
be
you get the
smart about
Mario
it.
Kart
You gotta be
bundle, and that's a $50. Probably going to be an amazing game. All the hands-on stuff I've been reading over the weekend, it sounds amazing. It sounds like Mario Kart
Yeah.
World is awesome. So I can't wait for that. And it's if you get it bundled, which not everyone will be able to do. I get that, but to me, I look at it and go, why would you get a new console and not get at least one of the
I
new
bet you they
games
made
that's
more of those
for it?
bundles than the standalones. I bet you that.
I think so too.
Mm.
So you got
I bet
in
you
my mind, you
they
got to have
packaged up
Mario
more of
Kart.
those.
Otherwise, why are you buying the Switch 2 right out of the gate? I don't
Yeah,
know.
right.
Uh,
Well,
I don't
and
know.
like it's just like if there's more of those available, they're $50 richer every unit sold.
Right.
So just
Totally.
it's a good business model too.
Yeah, I think
And
there's
again,
you guys are
Nintendo.
right.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Nintendo also classically they don't take losses on consoles. They're the only gaming.
Right.
They're the only ones that do this, and they refuse to, and they've always refused to, and they will never take
Yeah.
a hit on a console. So like that's another thing that's keeping. When you're talking about the specs of this thing, which we don't know fully, but like we know what the card
Yeah.
is, and we know that it's going to be like twice as more powerful as the Switch. We know it's going to run things at 120 frames. We know that it's going to be
Mhm.
HDR. That's a lot. You know what I
It's a
mean?
lot.
That's a
Smushing
lot to
together in
put
that little
into
thing.
a
Yeah.
little guy. Like there's a lot
And to
of
have the dock
things.
actually improve it, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of like Steam Deck adjacent, systems that can't even get stuff up to those numbers. So it's like
True.
if we're talking about watching Nintendo retake their space back, a little bit, this is the machine that does that in terms of like keeping like high powered,
Yeah.
handheld systems or whatever. But
Mm.
I just don't know if people will follow with their wallets open. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's hard to know. You
It
guys
is
are
a
right
lot
though
of
that
money.
there's so many variables at play with the appeal of the system, the cost of things, and then of course the upheaval around the world with economy and who's in charge and what America's leadership is currently doing. And I just want to be super clear from this is just Tim's perspective. Not I'm not representing the other two guys when I say this. I don't know if the tariff stuff is truly totally bad, totally good long
Oh,
term for our
sure.
economy.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
don't know. But I will say if it turns out that it helps our economy long term, people who already hate Trump will never admit it. If it turns out it hurts our economy long term, people that love Trump will never admit it. And it's just going to be he's always going to be like the scapegoat. It's just going to be very interesting to watch it all
Sure.
play out. Like what if it ends up being a great move? That'd be great. I would love that. But it doesn't look so great right now. And as a gamer, I'm looking at it going, this is I think I said this last week too, Dan. This feels like a hot mess. And now it's intruding
Yes.
on my one escape that I
Yeah.
kind of still have
Exactly.
as an adult. And
Yeah.
it's like, get out of my space. Like, this is my space I
Mhm.
have left. Please. I was trying to escape conversations about you and all this stuff, but here we
I
are.
think
Here we are.
my angle is just for me, like how I feel about it is like literally what you just said. Yes, but my skepticism just edges out because I'm sorry, I just don't believe that he cares enough about this country to do things for the country. So
Hey,
to me,
that's a
he's
fair
still
take.
just
I
like
mean, yeah.
he's still like every other politician. These people who want to act like he's different than the other to me, he's still the same. He's just gonna do the things that he wants to do because he is who he is. So I just don't trust
Yeah.
it. But hey, if it does work out, then it works out, and that's great.
Hey, when it
Then
comes to
that's
skepticism
fantastic.
about all politicians, I am so on board,
Right.
man. I think I've
Yeah.
seen that every administration in my 42 years of life that I've been paying attention, I
Yeah.
always feel that way to some extent.
Yeah.
Yep, totally agree with that skepticism, man. I actually think skepticism is a healthy mindset to have going into most things in life. So I am right there with
Yeah.
you on that. Speaking of skepticism, the game Marathon is still happening. Do you guys know this?
I know. Dude, I've been seeing ads about that. I just saw actually, Tim. I'm glad that you're bringing this up because I just saw an ad today, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, okay, marathon, cool, right? Because that was so the
Yeah.
old marathon was just a first person single player game, right? It was
It's
first
proto
person single
Halo.
play,
Yeah.
right? And now, Tim, what is it? Because it's not a single player
Can I
first
read the
person game.
description to you and then you tell me what you think?
Please.
It's a team-based extraction shooter
Ugh.
where you form a crew of 3 to battle against up to 18 other players in each zone. Dan's out. Dan left. Dan's
I think my eyes stuck from it rolling so hard. I can't.
Dan Dan is out. Yeah. So
You
Why?
mean the
I
thing nobody plays anymore?
Why is
Oh
this
man.
Bungie of these past few years
I don't know.
like what are they doing? What are they doing?
Yeah. Whatever your
What are they
question
doing?
is, I don't really know. Like I don't know what Bungie is doing. I will
What are
say
they doing?
this. So the game's coming out on September 23rd of this year, which is interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't know that there was a release date till I just now looked at this article. Um, but we just saw, for example, a game like Star Wars Hunters released last year,
Mhm.
chasing after a really popular genre, going
Mhm.
after a very crowded market, but giving it their best, releasing by most accounts a pretty decent game, and it's already shutting down here. What is it, in 2 more months or 3 more months? Like it's going to
Mhm.
be gone. It's just no longer going to exist. Like there's going to be no way to
You
like play
guys
it
remember the
offline.
Rainbow Six extraction shooter from a few years ago?
Nope, don't remember
Nobody
it.
does.
Don't remember
Nobody
it.
does.
So I
It's like
wonder when
this
I
whole
look at a game
space is
like
owned
this.
by Escape on Tarkov, and like that's all this game is. And like just
Oh.
like trying to go in and fight Fortnite, you're not gonna dethrone it. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Now
you're
listen,
not
there's the rare exception, right? There's your Marvel rivals that come out of nowhere and sustain
sure.
success like they
But
are,
like
and
Marvel
that's
Rivals is the owner of that space. You know what I mean? Like if somebody
that's
else
it.
tries to come in right now, like that's who you're trying to dethrone. And it's not gonna happen right now. You know, like it's
Yeah.
just you're
Yeah,
not
and I know that
peeling
these are
people
different
away
genres.
from
If you're listening to this and you're like a major Fortnite player or you love extraction
yeah.
shooters, I'm not saying they're the same, but the
They share one
concept of
thing.
it,
They're service games. They're games as a
they're
service
service games.
games. But yes, they are different
Exactly.
genres.
Like
Yeah.
when as soon as the company deems it untenable to maintain it, your experience on that game disappears. It's not a game that you can kind of keep downloaded and just fire back up when you feel nostalgic. Like it's going to be gone.
hmm
So,
Remember, guys,
I just
Ubisoft
don't
just said we don't own our games at all. So
it's true.
listen,
remember, everybody.
Ubisoft, do me a favor, fuck off. There's something about games as a service that just feels gross. Well, there's a lot of things, and we've had the discussion, but it doesn't feel like it comes from a place of, not to sound pretentious, but like being an artist.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
purely business. It's purely dollar
yeah.
signs,
It's
game
literally
trying to get as
built
much
on an
money as possible.
algorithm to make money. Like that's literally
Yeah,
what it is. You know,
and
like
it's just gross.
which
It's
you
just
know,
gross.
Yeah.
it is.
I
You
agree.
know, not my cup of tea. That's for sure.
There you
Get
go.
that tea out of
I
here.
agree with that. I agree with that. Did you guys see many of the hands-on impressions from the Switch 2, going back to that have come out? That's a lot of news
I haven't
articles that
seen
I'm
anything.
seeing.
No.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of hands-on impression with the console itself. I've seen a lot of
Mhm.
people. I've heard plenty of takes on people playing GameCube on there. Way more games than we remember. I was saying this in chat. Had widescreen support on the GameCube. Way
Which is
more.
cool.
Nice.
So even Soul
Was that kind
Calibur,
of that
which
was
I
like the
keep.
pivot time, right? Wasn't like the early
It
2000s
was,
when we
yeah,
started to
yeah, but a
see,
little ahead of the pivot time, I would even say. You know, like
yeah.
because not I don't remember there being like any PS2
360
or
was where I
Xbox
think
games.
of HD gaming hitting.
Yeah,
Was
Yeah,
yeah.
Xbox
yeah, yeah.
And
360.
GameCube is like the PS2 Xbox era, so it's like it was a
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
little
yeah.
ahead of its time.
And the Wii, I remember when I got the Wii and I got my first like 720p widescreen TV, and all of
Yeah,
a sudden I'm playing Mario Galaxy, and I was like, nothing's ever looked prettier. This is like, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I remember that feeling
Oh yeah.
of quote unquote HD gaming.
But
Right,
yeah, I've seen a
right.
lot of people get hands on Bonanza. A lot of people are unless you're Sam from GameScoop, you love this game. You know, everybody on Earth
Oh my
I've
gosh,
seems
seen
to.
what
so
did
much
Sam say?
positivity. Wait, what did he
Yeah,
What did
say?
he's
Sam
the
say?
only person. He's so butthurt that it's not a Mario, Mario Odyssey follow up or whatever.
Oh,
And he's like,
let
this
it
game. So
go,
this game
man.
looks stupid. I don't like. And
Oh my
everybody else is just
god.
on the panel like,
I've heard
you're
that the
crazy.
destructibility of the environments apparently
I
is
hear
really
it's
fun, really great. Yep.
I hear it's one of those marvels where people are like, "How are they getting this to run like this?"
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah.
plenty of that. Like it's just I
I
know you
did
can't dig
see
everywhere, but it's very liberal where you can dig.
one
You
guy
know,
wrote about how
so
he got like motion sickness because there's a lot of screen shake or something like that.
sure,
But
I can see that.
I don't know. Like those are some of the things that I've seen.
But
What
yeah,
about
I've
Mario
You
seen
must
Kart?
be
Did you
able
see
to
anything
turn
about?
that off.
Yeah,
yeah,
you should. You
a
should.
lot of people talking about Mario Kart in terms of just how open it feels and how nice it is to like just drive around and scout out courses before the because like before the race starts, like you load in Fortnite style into the race and you can like go around that area to like find
Yeah,
shortcuts and stuff like that to
Okay.
kind
you
of
can
increase
explore it a
your
bit. Did you guys ever
yeah.
play F-Zero 99?
I did. I liked it a lot.
No, not that one. No.
So that was a game like throughout the course of those races, you would drop off if you were under a certain
It was a
placing.
battle royale racer. Yeah.
Exactly. And so this has that in between the normal Grand Prix courses, which I think is a
I'm
really
very
fun
excited for
idea.
that mode, and then there's the Stitch Together courses mode. That sounds really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
that's what
lot
I'm
of,
thinking of. The Stitch
but
Together.
no,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
that
think,
sounds
but
cool.
but like that's what you're saying. Like you drop off, like if you get to the next
Yeah.
phase of the map, and like
Like
maybe
the
you're in a certain
tour or
place.
whatever they're calling
Yeah.
that. Mhm.
And I heard that like, and like no duh, but like at making it to 24 players or 26 or whatever it is, 24 players, it's like chaos.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
think about twice as many turtle shells flying around everywhere. You know what I mean? Like that's because that's what
Dude.
it is. You know, like
Yeah.
it is double everything. You know, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't know when the last time y'all played Mario Kart was, but like when you fall behind like fifth place, that like 10th to like sixth place, like you're just battling for your life like in that area. But now that
Absolutely.
is like double now. Now it's like if you're fifth to like 20th, you know, like you're just battling for your life or whatever, you know. So it's just I welcome the chaos. It sounds super fun. I will say a lot of people were talking about it felt a little slower. Everything that they've shown is 100 cc's. It does go up to
Okay.
150
Oh, okay.
cc's, which is where a lot of us
Yeah.
play.
Well, and then they'll
So
eventually, they might add to 200. Didn't 8 have 200 and then
I
Mirror
think
as
they went up to
well?
250 or something like that. Yeah, maybe it was just 200, but
Yeah,
yeah,
they added a higher number. Yeah.
it will get
Yeah.
faster. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that just
for
makes
sure.
it harder and yada yada. But yeah,
I do wonder the balance of the items though,
cool.
like you're saying, the chaos. Like, yeah, that is fun, but like sometimes it with Mario Kart and like Party, like the being bashed on can be kind of like, all right,
Yeah,
like,
you know, but like
like
getting
there's got to be a
bashed
good
on and
balance.
falling to very last place always means you're getting blue shells and all the best items
Sure,
and stuff like that. So
sure.
there is
And the
like
stars.
yeah, you're gonna feel like you're getting picked on a little bit, but like they're gonna equip you in a way where if you're good enough, you can climb back up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be curious to
So
see how
you
the
just gotta
balance is.
hang in there, you know.
Yeah,
And with that many players, it means like the levels are a little wider, you know, the roads are a
right.
little
Yeah,
wider,
that too.
everything's a
Yeah,
little bigger, you know, and it just seems awesome. Like if you like Mario Kart, like you're gonna like this game. Like maybe
Yeah.
it's not $80 worth
I'm
of like
glad that they
I don't
thought of
know. We can have that
something.
50
conversation,
with the
but
bundle.
yeah, 50
I'm
with the
glad that
bundle.
they thought of something actually unique because, like, Tim and I were talking about
Yeah.
how, like, what was the last like unique Mario Kart? It was the one on GameCube. It was Double Dash because
Double
it was like,
Dash.
oh, this is like a new
Mhm.
element that they
There's a
put
gimmick
into
there,
Mario Kart.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which like
and
eight
then
didn't
the
even really have, you know, like eight's
right.
just kind
That's
of
what I
like
mean.
we're just
Yeah,
gonna play the basics here, which is great. Eight's awesome. I'm not, that's not a
yeah,
critique by
yeah,
any
yeah.
means, but like
Wonderful
it does
game.
also sound like all, even though you'll see levels that have the same name, there'll be different takes on those levels. I mean, but that's kind of
Yeah,
always been the case with this series. So I don't think they use a single reused level, you
yeah.
know, from a previous game. So everything's gonna be a new track. Maybe we get classics down the line, you know, but this sounds super cool, man. I mean, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
Agreed.
that they're launching with this game. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's a
Just
really
like the
you're
first Switch launched with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right?
yep,
So like
yep.
it was
And
a
everyone
game to
played that. It
play
was
right
like
out of
their
the gate.
first and last game probably that they're going to play on
And
that
it
system. So
sold I think 5 trillion copies, I think is the number that
it
it's
did.
just
at
It
now.
sold.
about.
It
Yeah,
sold
just about.
7 copies to every 1 unit sold, is what I
Yeah,
heard.
yeah, exactly. Everyone has multiple Mario Karts. Hey, but this one, if you have multiple Switch 2s, which is that's the catch, but you could play it with one cart across multiple people playing it, I
Yeah,
believe.
That's true.
Unless
yeah,
That's true.
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. So that is pretty cool. They did talk about how there's been lots of questions swirling, and this has been part of I think Nintendo's I can't even call it a misstep. It's not like they said something wrong. They've just been quieter than a lot of us want. We want information on this thing. And so when it
Mm.
comes to the Switch 2 versions of games, rumors started picking up steam, and then people thought they had validity for some reason that, hey, when you buy a Switch 2 edition of a Zelda game or Metroid Prime 4, whatever, you're just going to get an empty case with a code in it. That's all you're getting.
Yeah,
And
Right.
Nintendo never
don't know how
said
that
that.
rumor
And now they
started.
finally have
Yeah,
had
I
to
don't know how that rumor
clarify,
started.
like, they're like, no, you will get the game and the upgrade on the cart. Like
Yeah,
you're getting the Switch 2 edition. That's almost kind of like saying, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know who told you that, but no, it's
yeah,
normal.
yeah.
Right.
Like what we're
Dad
doing
had
is
to get
normal.
his take his reading glasses off and be like,
Well, it
"Listen,
Yeah.
was
kid."
Yeah, yeah,
it was
exactly.
people reaching out to like the customer chat line or whatever it was, and
Yeah.
like people kept
That
pestering them, and
that
then
poor chat line right now. I'm sure.
yeah, that chat line, somebody on that chat line was like, yeah, download like whatever, and then that's like ignited the internet. So that's
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there is there has been a lot of that around the Switch 2, where it's just like there's just been a lot of like faulty reporting because Nintendo has they're leaving journalists to fill in the blanks because they're not talking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
journalists are like
Yeah.
taking things out of context and bad translations and yada yada, and it becomes these stories that like are good intentions. They're just trying to like inform people, but like they're just not direct quotes from Nintendo until you actually see Nintendo respond like they did for this. So
Yep.
But again, goes back to the whole business thing of like them just not talking like a person and just being like, here's
Yeah.
the information. Here's
Yeah.
just the thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, agreed. Speaking of Nintendo with the GameCube stuff, that controller shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but that controller is only compatible with GameCube games. So like if you were
Right.
planning on getting it
okay.
and trying to like remap it to other Switch
or
games,
Smash
no.
Bros.
Yeah.
What?
Smash
I said, or
Bros.
Smash
Ultimate,
Bros.
you can use.
Oh, yeah,
You can
yeah. I
use-
see what
yeah,
you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. Speaking of Nintendo, also there's a this that Disney game, Illusion Island. Remember that with Mickey and kind of that old
Yeah.
school
Yes.
throwback
Yeah,
game?
yeah, yeah.
So that's going to hit PC and Xbox and PlayStation here pretty soon.
Nice.
So other people can get a chance to play that one. There's been a lot of people asking, oh great, so we're not getting Wind Waker remastered or even the HD version ported now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have confirmed that that doesn't mean that. So the Nintendo hasn't said we're making it or it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
but they have said it being on the GameCube Switch
Wouldn't stop
online
any
service
plans
does not change any. That does not mean it's not being ported. is all
If
they
you
said.
don't think that they're saving that for a rainy day, like we gotta get on people's good side. That's what
Yeah.
they're using that as a trump card, like 100%.
Yeah.
That and like
I
Twilight
agree.
Princess and any, Skyward Sword's not the trump card, but you know what I mean. Like when we got
Well,
all those would.
they already did that. So
well, that's what I mean, but it didn't land like a
Yeah,
trump
yeah.
card. Like because you
Yeah,
could have
yeah,
easily
yeah.
instead of put out Skyward Sword, put out one of these, which has a bigger following, and
right,
like
right.
gotten like goodwill, but like they knew that they would have to keep those for a rainy day. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
which is cool.
Agreed.
Day one, I'm buying Wind Waker HD.
Yeah.
I'm reluctantly buying Twilight Princess. I don't love that one, but it is a good game.
Hey, I like that game. Twilight
It's a good
Princess took
game.
a long time. It
It's
took
a
a
good
long
game.
time to grow on me. Like
It's a
it
good game.
took me until second half of the game till I was like, this is a
Second half of
Zelda
the
game
game
and I
is
love it.
way better. I mean, I'm faulting the first half of that game whenever I have any negativity towards it.
It's
I think
such
that
a
game is
slow
very-
start. It's such a weird
It has
gameplay
such a
collection of
strong.
things you're doing.
It has such a strong back half, though. Like you're absolutely right. Whereas like Wind Waker, I would kind of argue, kind of has like a weaker back half.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I agree with
but
that too.
they carved out a lot of that bullshit though in like the Wii U version though, like all the
The
like,
magic
sailing.
of the open ocean and sailing and exploring at the beginning of Wind
Yeah.
Waker is so great, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to dive back into it. At some point. The only other thing that jumped out to me on the headlines this week that I thought was worth calling out was one of the games that is on my list for most anticipated is Mafia: The Old Country, which is hitting later this year.
Yep.
And a release date was published by accident and quickly deleted. I'm going to guess this game is going to be announced during Summer Game Fest. Hey, it might get its own. 2K is big enough. They might do their own separate announcement for the release date for this. But I could also see it being like a Summer Game Fest or something like that announcement. But it looks like August 8th is the date that was published, then deleted. So could be getting this game late summer, which would be cool.
Yeah. I'm
so you go, Mafia,
so stoked for that game. Holy
Country.
crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. So I can't see anything else that's like worth. We don't have to announce every like, oh, this is being ported to that, and like every rumor. Is there anything else that you guys know of from this week that's worth?
I've seen
highlighting?
a bunch of like rumors about a prototype 3 coming out, but like there's nothing substantial or
Wow. Okay.
like for sure about that. Just everybody's reporting on it right now, so something.
So we're gonna get a prototype 3 potentially before a new Infamous game. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me?
I'm just as mad as you are about that, actually. Yeah, I'm
Dude,
definitely more
fucking-
Infamous than I am Prototype.
love Infamous. Yeah,
I think
love
Infamous 1 and 2 are perfect video games, and I think the third one is pretty good.
Yeah, it really
I've only
good
played
enough to
I've
not
only
kill
played
a
that
whole
one.
franchise. Like I think it was good enough where it's like you could make a sequel to this freaking game, you idiots. Like
I've
I don't
only
know if I've
played that
shared with you
third one, and
guys.
I really liked it. I thought it
Oh,
was
The
really
third
really,
fun.
one's
Tim?
great. I mean,
Dude,
it had
one
some of
and
the best. It had some of the best like particle effects, like in
It
the
was
new
great.
yeah.
era of that generation. You know, like
It was fun.
I don't know if I've shared with you guys my idea for like a new one, which I think would be rad. But I mean, Tim's not played the first two, so he wouldn't have any context. But
It's true.
um,
I'd be like, yeah, it's a
it
great
would,
idea, man.
yeah, because like the whole concept, with those games is you choose good guy, bad guy paths.
Mhm.
So there's
Yeah.
different story, different endings. So, but
Yeah.
good guy, bad guy.
Yeah, so there you go. I think that's most of the headlines worth highlighting. So what I thought we could do before we wrap up with anything else we're playing or watching that we want to highlight is talk about contenders or pretenders for game of the year. At this point
Hmm.
in 2025, we are past the quarter one moment. We are actually in quarter two now, and but want to look back at just Q1, so January, February, March, and take a look at the games that we think are either contenders or pretenders. This is mostly just for our own personal list. We're not talking about if they would make our shared list or anything. It's just like, hey, this one is top 3 material. This one's got to be in my top 10. And then maybe you have a couple of these that are more like dark horse candidates. Like, hey, if I play it a little more, it might squeak in there, might squeak into the list. Because I've got a few of those as well. Before I do that, I was going to mention that we did this last year and was just going to highlight a few of these that we had marked as contender or pretender. So we had stuff like Suicide Squad and Skull and Bones and Foam Stars as pretenders, which is funny
Those
that I
weren't
bothered to
contenders.
even.
What were we thinking? What happened?
But I don't know.
we
We're
never
wrong
finger on the
about a lot.
pulse. We never finger on the
Wow,
pulse.
man. Yeah.
We are so wrong. Contenders were things like Helldivers 2, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, and Banishers. Those were all on our contender list. And then
Okay.
the rest of them are ones that actually ended up, I'm pretty sure, making our top 10 or were close in some way, shape, or form. Everything from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh, no, this one didn't.
Mm.
Balatro did not.
Oh,
we have
okay.
we have it marked as Pretender because I think we all knew like
Oh.
it's kind of fun, but no.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I
But we
definitely
did have
would
it
have said
marked.
pretender.
We
Yeah,
had
for
Pretender
sure.
for that. Good for us.
I
Good
still
job,
got
stand-
guys.
all
I
the
still stand
haterade
by
for
it.
that game. Yeah.
I still
And we
stand by it.
we
Even though I
have
know it's a good game. I know it's a good game. I'm doing it. I hate that game in a comical way for comedy's sake because I know it's like
some of the other contenders we had
catchy.
were Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Dragon's Dogma 2, Prince of Persia, Lost Crown, and Unicorn Overlord. We all had marked as contenders for Game of the Year that year. So I don't think any of those are necessarily wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it was a pretty strong Q1 last year. Now that I'm looking at it, the rest of the year was, I think it had its waves of amazing moments and then waves of like, where are the games? Like it was a little bit of an interesting year last year, I thought.
A little bit.
Looking back on it. All right. So what I thought we could do is, whoa, as this screen like whites out my entire face. That's okay.
Flashbang.
Yeah.
Solar flare.
Yeah, for real.
Solar
So I'm gonna bring up this spreadsheet here where we've
Okay.
got. I'm trying to zoom in as much as I could here. I'll zoom in even
It's
a
got
little
good
bit more, I
spread.
think.
Yeah.
It's got- Thanks,
Spread it
Bill.
open.
Good spread.
So you can see here some of the games. I'm actually gonna change the size of this a bit. That is so bright. Jeez Louise. Okay. So some of the games that are on here we've talked about a lot. Split Fiction and Kingdom Come Deliverance and a few others. Others I don't know that any of us will play, and that's totally okay. I don't know if any of us, the three of us at least, are gonna spend much time with WWE 2K25. Or Citizen Sleeper 2. We might play one of those, but probably not. So I just thought we could mark a few. We won't even bother marking a pretender. We're not going to be mean. We'll keep it P. We'll keep it positive for this segment. But if you've got one that you're like, I think this is a contender for me, then just call it out as we go through the list here. So we'll just start here at the top. I think it's fair to say that Split Fiction is a pretty strong contender. I know it is for me personally.
Yeah.
For Game of the Year. And this, by the way,
Yes.
you could think of it however you want. Top 10, however you want to think of it.
No,
It's
it's probably one of my favorite co-op things I've ever done. So
Yeah, I think it's a contender for sure. For me personally, I don't know where it is for you, Kyle, what you've played so far. For me, it is a top 3 contender. So for you, is it
Yeah,
top 10? Is it top 3
it's a
contender
top
right
10,
now?
my top 5 as of right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's
Yeah.
so fantastic, and the only reason it's not higher is just because I had to take a little break because other things were coming out.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the longer I take a break, the more that game gets better. So
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay with it. You know.
And hey, you can play it on Switch 2 pretty soon. So there's
No,
that.
I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
start
don't
over.
do that.
No, I'm gonna do
Yeah. Keep playing it wherever you're playing it. Yeah. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I mean, I know that I'm a simp for this game, but what about do you guys consider it a contender just based on what you know of it? What you've
Yeah.
played of it, some Kyle as well. You played a good
This
amount of
is
it.
I haven't
this
even
is
played
gonna
it at all,
be
and I'm like, yeah.
this is going to be invading award season at the end of the year. This is
Yeah.
big Witcher 3 energy. This game.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you brought up GameScoop earlier. I really got annoyed when Justin Davis, who hasn't played this game at all, he does this a lot
Yep.
because he's so knowledgeable about the industry and he loves to talk about inside baseball and he knows more
He's
than
also a
everybody.
mobile gamer, so you have to be careful with
Oh
him.
my gosh.
Oh well,
But he was they were talking
yeah.
about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a couple weeks ago, and he said right at the outset, this is a game that's kind of calling my name that I should play it. So he set the table with, I haven't played this. But then he had all these thoughts about how it's like, it's exciting to see if Warhorse can get to that Witcher 3 moment, because this is like their Witcher 2 moment where it's like, hey, they've made something pretty good. And I'm like, have you not seen the reviews on this game? It's like
Yeah. It's funny because
9
he's
and 10
playing
out
the
of
first
10.
one now, and he's like, "Oh, I love this, and it's so great, and yada yada." And like, I'm like, "Well, yeah,
Oh,
you're gonna love like two is gonna two's gonna
it's way
blow your
better
socks off." Yeah,
in
like,
every way. Yeah.
yeah, in a way like Witcher 3 was compared to
Yeah.
Witcher 1 and 2. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, for me this is another obvious like top 3. This and Split Fiction are really close for me right at the very top at the moment as I'm looking at games. But others are starting to creep up there the more I play them. So we'll see what happens. Monster Hunter Wilds, fair to call that a contender. The game's
dude,
awesome.
this game is so good. This might be
Yeah.
right now. It's my number 1.
Yeah. I get it.
Whoa, I love this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's still in the top 10 for me. I haven't spent as much time with it as I'd like, so I need to dig into it more. But I played probably 7 hours or so not nothing, and I do like it a lot. It's so good. It's everything I wanted from the next Monster Hunter game. So I have zero negative to say about it. I did play a little bit Keep Driving, but not enough to say like, I'm going to fight for this on our list, guys. But it is a very unique little indie game.
It's on my wish list. It looked
Yeah.
you pitched it well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a unique little game. Same with Citizen Sleeper 2. I'm sure that's a great game, but I'm not going to play it. I do
Reading puts me to
own
sleep, so.
I own Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist because I love the first couple hours of the first game so much. I can't wait to play it, but I'm waiting. I want to finish the first game.
I bought that one a couple months ago. Like I finally like actually have it. I'm gonna
You bought a 2025 game?
No. The first one. I bought the first one.
Oh, that's more appropriate. Okay,
Not
That-
even the
that
second.
makes more
that
sense.
that tracks. That tracks.
Yeah.
That one tracks.
I'll let you know in a
2 Point
couple years
Museum.
what this one is.
I don't know if any of us have played this, although we've all acknowledged, hey, that looks kind of fun. That looks cute. Like sure, but
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have played it. I know I haven't played it.
I would
yet.
have played it if it came on Game Pass, or I don't know if it didn't. No, we
Yeah.
checked on that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I'll try it at some point. Momodora Moonlit Farewell does look awesome, but I haven't played it. Have you guys seen this
haven't
side
played
scroller looking game? It looks really cool.
I think I know much about this one actually.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet.
Oh,
Same with
I'm familiar.
WWE.
Yeah, it looks good.
Have you played it? You played Momodora?
No. Just it looks good. I
Okay.
remember seeing it. The good pixel work. So.
The same with like WWE and MLB, not games that I don't think any of us will spend a lot of time playing. We did all talk about how Blade Chimera is really cool. Had a great demo.
It's
that
my
game
favorite
is
indie I played this year. Yeah.
very
it a
cool
lot,
little
yeah.
game. I don't think
Yeah.
it's a game of the year contender, but it is very good.
Right.
Here we go. Let's get back to some contenders. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
There you go.
That's
It's
got
a
to be at
contender to
least
be
top
on my
10.
top. It's a contender to be on my top 10 list. Yeah, with the year we're
Gotta
about
be.
to have, this might be the first year that like a Yakuza game is on like the lower half of my list.
Yeah,
if I'm just being
wouldn't that be wild?
honest with
That'd be
myself.
wild.
Yeah, it would be really wild. Yeah. If like Death
Don't worry,
Stranding,
they'll release
GTA,
like
Mafia,
Judgment 3 or something. They'll
They
release
will,
another game
yeah, of
this
course
year.
they will, yeah.
Yeah.
In like 3 months, we'll get some kind of like message from them that's like, yeah, we're making another one. You know, like all right.
Yeah, here comes a game in November. Like, how do you make these so fast?
How'd
What are you
do
doing?
this?
Yeah.
Source.
Assassin's Creed Shadows is absolutely a contender for me.
Yeah,
A week ago I would have said top 10, but now I'm like, is this gonna edge into the top
I-
3? So like, I don't know.
I had to have a conversation with myself, be like, do you like an Ubisoft game more than a Yakuza game this year? And the answer is yes. It wasn't
Um,
like it wasn't like a long conversation I had with myself. It wasn't a long
Yeah.
debate. I was like, It is better." So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are you
I've been
still you're playing
playing.
it a lot, right? Yeah, Dan.
I
Like you're.
Yeah,
yeah.
It
it's
sounds
like
like
this
that's
is
like your main
mainly what
event.
I'm focusing on right now, and I do have to finish it within like what the next couple of weeks because Expedition 33 comes out, and that's like my actual most excited game for the years as of right now that I know of games that are haven't been announced.
Actually, with the
Perhaps.
date and coming in.
Yeah.
Me too. Very excited for
I'm
that one.
enjoying this one very very much. I I do feel like it is a little bit of like an indulgence of like it's like really good junk food. I just don't know if like it would be on a top 10 list for me, but I'm enjoying this Assassin's Creed more than I have the last couple of ones. Not that I disliked Valhalla or what the hell was the middle one?
Odyssey,
Odyssey. Odyssey.
the
Yeah, because
best one.
I
Keep going.
really like Origins. I think Origins is the best.
Oh, Origins is
Um
amazing. Yeah.
I love
Yeah. So good.
Origins.
Yeah.
So this is like the first one since like that one that I'm like, oh, this is like really fun. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's still something about it that I'm like, this is enjoyable, but I just don't know if it would crack a top 10 list for me. But I guess we'll see where the end of the year ends.
The only thing I would ask you is what other games have you played in 2025, if any,
Yeah.
that you would rank above it right now?
Right now, it absolutely is in your top 10 because
It
you
has
played
to
2
be in
games
your
this
top
year.
one.
Automatically 2025 games, yes, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have played other things, so
Yeah. Fair
just
enough.
not
Fair enough.
2025 games, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got Dynasty Warriors Origin. So I played a little bit of Lonely Mountain. Cool little kind of like mini game feeling thing. Interesting game. Dynasty Warriors Origins. Is that top 10 material for you, Kyle?
We've had a weird year if a Dynasty Warriors game like I'm a huge Dynasty Warriors fan, but like we've had a weird year if a Dynasty Warrior game ends up in my top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that
Yeah.
is to me like what maybe Assassin's Creed is to Dan being junk food.
Yeah.
Like Dynasty Warriors is absolutely junk food. It's a
Yeah.
B level game with B level budget and B all day. I know it's sitting
Yeah.
on an 81 right now, but this is like a swimming in sevens type of series. And while I get so much joy out of them, and I think they're so fantastic, like we've had a bad year if it makes a top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there should be
Yeah.
way bigger ideas that get celebrated for that type of placement on the list.
Well, what
Great
about
game though, super great.
Avowed? What about Avowed? I don't remember
This
Dan
is a
if you
dark
played. I know,
horse.
Kyle, you did.
This is a dark horse. I know if I put more time in, like this is a top 10 game. I know it is.
Yeah.
But I
Dan, have
just
you
haven't
played this
that
one much?
Well, remember I had kind of
Yeah.
like it just feels wonky and a bit grody on the Series S.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
I don't know if they've had any updates or if they plan on doing any updates that maybe kind of iron out some of the kinks because I mean I love these type of games. I do. So
Yeah.
I know I would enjoy it if I actually sat down and saw it through. I just unfortunately haven't had the ability to experience it yet.
Yeah, I only
fully.
played like 20, 30 minutes of it. I need to
Yeah.
give it time. I still see it
Yeah.
as my
Hours
summer
or
game, but we'll
so?
see. Because I'm probably not going to play Death Stranding 2 because I just didn't play enough of the first one. As
Mhm.
wacky as that story is, I feel like I owe the first one my
I
time
want to
and
invite
attention.
everybody who didn't play Death Stranding 1 to not play 2 because these games are so
That's
narrative heavy.
That's what it seems
Like,
like to me,
yeah.
man.
Don't just
Yeah.
jump into 2 because you're gonna be one of
That
those
was a
people
nice
who are gonna be not
invitation.
you, but like people are gonna like jump into 2 without playing 1, being like, I didn't know what was going on, so it's stupid. And like
Right.
just save
Right.
Yeah.
me the headache and you the time and money and like just go play something else.
It's like playing Rebirth without
Not
having
to be too
played
gatekeepy
Remake.
about a
It's like, what are you
Kojima
doing?
game, but
Right.
like
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a very story heavy game with a lot. I mean, a insane amount of lore that you have to like sift through in-game
Yep.
emails to like understand fully, and like I just can't imagine like a sane person wanting to jump into this game, being like,
Well,
I'm gonna
that's
get
kind of
it.
why I have the summertime
People
right
do it.
now. Other
Yeah.
than Mario
get it,
Kart, I
dude.
kind of have that tabbed as my like. I think I've got some catch up time there, possibly,
Yeah.
hopefully, where I can catch up on stuff like Avowed, and we'll see what else.
Mhm.
But we'll see. We'll see. For me personally, right now, Tales of Iron 2, I love that game. It's in my top 10, of course. But when I look at the roster of games, and I'll read a few of them off after this segment here, I don't see it staying in my top 10. I'm not calling it a pretender because it doesn't belong. It's more of just like, if GTA 6 and Ghost of Yotei and these games actually come out this year, this doesn't stand a chance of being on my top 10. and it's not its fault. It's just a bad
Mhm.
year for a smaller
yeah.
game like
Yeah.
Tales of Iron 2, but I love it. All right, is there anything else that's significant that you guys would want to call out here?
Hello Kitty. No, I'm just kidding.
Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Eternal Strand's the real Strand game this year.
Good one. Good
There you
call.
go.
Good
There
call.
you go.
Yeah. Now some of these others, of course, haven't been released yet, so I have them farther
Yeah.
down. But yeah, there you
No,
go. It's a pretty small, short list of contenders so far. 5 that we're looking at.
No
Yeah.
pretenders though.
May-
That's good.
maybe a dark horse one. So not bad. I mean, if that pattern keeps up, that means we're looking at 20 strong top 10 contenders for the year
Yeah.
that we have to deal with. And I don't think I had that last year, so that'd be more than I had last year personally.
Yeah.
So anyway, speaking of games that are coming out for the rest of the year, I mean, obviously there's so many, but when I look at the list of games that are still tabbed as 2025 and in some cases have release dates, it's crazy. I already mentioned Mafia: The Old Country, possibly an August release date. We'll see if that turns out to be true. We just mentioned Death Stranding 2 on the beach. That game is scheduled for June. What a crazy game to hit right in the middle of the beginning of the summer. Like that's crazy to me.
There you go. Thank you, Kojima.
Borderlands. Yeah, thank you, Kojima. Borderlands 4 is hitting in September. So that's got a release date. Even if it got delayed, I'd be surprised if it was out of this year. It feels like that game is probably pretty close.
I think developers need money right now, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm reading the room right. And I think a lot of these games are probably going to make their release date.
That's what it
I
feels
think
like
that,
right now, man.
I just don't think a lot of things are going to slip. Things always do slip, and there's always room for everything to slip. But like, again, if I'm reading the economy right, in terms of the video game, specifically in the industry, people need money, and I think if you move it out of this fiscal year, like, I don't know, like that's kind of bad, right? I mean,
one that I forgot, the way I filtered this, it didn't show up correctly. The first Berserker Kazan is up there right now. That's certainly a top 10 game for me.
Sure.
I just
nice,
I don't know it'll stay. Same thing with Tales of Iron 2, where I really like it, but with the other games that are out, we'll see. But boy, that's a cool game. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. Blueprints just came out. We talked about that. South of Midnight just came out. 2 really good games on their own right that would be worthy of a look when it comes time at the end of the year to give out kudos, especially for visuals on South of Midnight, especially for that. And we'll see. Story seems to be shaping up well, maybe for narrative as well. Grand Theft Auto 6, of course, is slated for this year. We'll see if that actually happens. I know they're still targeting it. I think they actually just said.
I hope they don't push it back, but they could push
it
back and be financially okay. So
I think they'd be fine.
They'd be fine.
I think
that's one of the few studios that like doesn't need to stick to their release date, but I hope they do.
Did Ninja Gaiden 4 get a 2025 window?
I think got a fall release date. I thought,
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I thought it was September or August or something.
It might actually have an official date, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it did. I could be.
Was it like October or something? Maybe that's crazy.
September or August, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so Ninja Gaiden 4. We've got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which is still slated for. I imagine that's going to be their big October, November game for the Switch 2, even though it is on Switch 1.
Okay. No month, no era. Okay. All right.
Yeah. We've still got Pokemon Legends ZA, and it doesn't matter how good that game is, it'll sell like crazy. That's just how that works.
Again, if we're talking about that being in a top 10 by the end of the year, something went wrong.
You're not wrong. Mario Kart World, if it does what Mario Kart 8 did, it's going to be up there on my list somewhere. Mario Kart 8 was a legitimate game of the year contender for me on the Switch back in 2017, which was a bonkers year for games as well. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, we'll have to evaluate, especially from Kyle's point of view. Does that warrant a
you don't want
new
me
game
to make that decision because it'll come from a very biased place,
That's true.
And I don't
in
know
most cases,
if it sucks, I'm just gonna go. It's because Kojima wasn't part of it, I'm gonna
that's
be
true.
really
That's
flaky.
true.
I'm gonna be really
That's true.
flaky about this game. I just want everybody
Kyle,
to know.
we're gonna have like a 5-hour, just like a side episode. We'll
Sure.
discuss Metal Gear for 7 hours.
Length. Yeah, I'll go into great
minimum.
detail about
Hey,
all the
I want to
new
be
dialogue.
involved. The only one I have not completed is 4. It's the only one I've never finished.
Great, you're in. Tim's in.
Well, I mean, are you a real fan then? Are you a real fan?
You're right. I never bought a PS.
Yeah.
I never got that second job to get the PS3. and
Right.
then
Yeah.
Oh,
get
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sony
That's what
was
happened.
really something,
That's what
I tell
happened.
you.
Yeah.
So we have. I don't know if it's going to come out this year. It's still slated as a TBD 2025 game. This might be ridiculous to even mention. Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra is listed
Oh,
as a
Yeah,
2025.
I keep
right.
forgetting about that game.
I kind of feel like this game doesn't really exist, if I got to be honest, because like I feel like the last like 18 projects from Amy Hennig have been canceled, which is totally hyperbolic. But like,
She needs a win. She needs a win.
I want this to be
She
so
does need
real,
to win.
everybody, and I
She-
love her. I think she's fantastic.
We've seen some interesting cutscenes from this.
Yeah,
I don't think we ever.
I feel like
We
we've
never saw
seen
that from some of her other projects. I don't think.
It's true. Yeah.
Did we? I don't think we did. We just
No,
heard
no,
concepts.
I don't think we ever saw anything outside the concept phase. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's actually a trailer for this. There's some cutscenes. We've seen faces of
Yeah.
characters as designed in the game, kind of this version of the
Right.
Marvel universe.
It
so.
looks good. It's a good looking video game.
It's a great looking game. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a very
It's
cool.
gonna have a
look.
great story if she's doing it. It will. Like I'm just. It's not. I'm just.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But
I mean-
I hope it comes out. Yeah.
It remains to be seen if Grand Theft Auto 6 hits this year, as we mentioned earlier. Same with
Mhm.
Ghost of Yote. Will that actually arrive in 2025?
Sure.
See,
I don't know,
I think
but-
Sony needs money, but like I don't think that game's coming out. You know what I mean? Like they need
Yeah.
an right. Like when's the last time they put out an exclusive that's not Astrobot that like really
It's been a while.
like satiated like the hardcore crowd? And I hate like the delineating.
Dude, what
that, but, like,
what an absolute banger of a holiday release that would be, though.
Yeah,
Like, Ghost of
I
Yote
really hope so.
holiday.
But like, I just like we don't know anything about that game, you
Right.
know. But like
Right.
that studio turns out games in a pretty good timeline, you know. Like they don't push back their games very often, you know. So it's like I want to believe them, you know, right? If
Yep.
and I think they doubled down kind of recently. They're like, yeah, and you're gonna get more info soon. It's coming out this year, so it's
That's
like it feels good just to go. All right, I'm gonna take this at face value. You know?
Right.
That's kind of
Yeah.
my plan with GTA as well. It's like I'm just gonna take it at face value. You guys have said it multiple times that it's gonna make the. If it slips, great. What am I? You know, whatever. It's delayed. You
Interesting.
Know, we'll play
Yeah,
it at some point.
interesting. For it to be in 2025 too. Like if that does land, and then this was the year that they finally released a Japan centric Assassin's Creed. Like of
Yeah,
all the
that's true.
years, of all the years. For
Bad
that game.
timing.
That is
Yeah,
true.
Bad timing. Yeah.
That is true. So this month, of course, even though they're not out yet, they're on the way very soon. We got Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Excited for that.
See you at the Game of the
that's-
Year awards.
Dude.
That's
I
right.
just-
That's right.
I-
And then
Charlie
Go ahead,
Cox
Dan.
is like the main character, and I'm on a big Daredevil high right now, and I just want to see him act his face off in this game.
yeah.
I just need more of these. And this, I think this is actually because the game's not coming out at $70. Regular price, it's $50. Like this is not
Yeah.
even a 70 or 60 or
That's
Like,
like
something.
look at
garbage,
this
man.
game and go, "This is a budget game." What? Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's a
like,
beautiful looking game. It's so sharp.
The
looking.
game looks gorgeous. Cast fantastic.
expensive.
co-
Cast. These are famous.
Yeah.
A lot of them are famous people. You
Yeah.
know, like this costs
turn-
money. You know?
Turn-based game, which apparently turn-based was dead. It's like, well, no, it's not. You just try to.
Persona director says turn base is very alive right now. So
And he's not
I mean, he's
wrong
right.
because
yeah, he's right.
you gotta
You're
just
looking in the right
just
spots.
kind of like weave in some like unique ideas and in this case you kind of add that Super Mario RPG Lord of the Rings angle to it, but just speed it up so it's nice and like fast and slick.
Mhm.
And Overworlds, guys, Overworlds. I know this seems like such a maybe to some people a little dumb thing, but like I miss Overworlds so goddamn much. And I'm
Overworlds
tired
and
of,
cliffs.
like,
That's all Dan needs in his life.
That's it.
Overworlds
just
and
need some
cliffs.
cliffs. Just give me
Overworlds,
some
yeah.
cliffs, some beautiful cliffs. Just give me some nice shiny rocks to rub my face on, and
Yeah.
other body parts.
All right.
But like
I'm out.
it's just such a good
Yeah,
way
what?
to implement like discovery and like exploration that isn't again just like an open world that's just like this whole empty like space. It just
If
I
you
don't know.
are on an expedition to save the world, you're not stopping to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
go down south. You know, like I'm gonna travel 1,000 miles on foot in the wrong direction to.
Yeah. And there's
I
nothing
like
there.
I like linear RPGs. I do, and like what I mean by
Yeah.
that is like the overworld. Obviously, there's some opportunities for like
Yeah,
exploring
yeah,
and going
yeah.
in different orders, but like
Yes.
I just feel like it's okay. It's okay to just
Yeah.
like keep things on a track and tell a
okay.
story.
But it's more fun to discover secrets in Overworlds, in my opinion, because it's like because it looks almost like kind of like toy-esque. You're like a little kid exploring this little toy-like kind of thing, and you find some little nook that's you didn't have to really travel that far to, as opposed to an open world.
nice
which
little
could take a
sparkly
while.
glint on a tree stump.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Like,
the
what
little
is this?
sparkly glint. I
Yeah,
do love a good sparkly
exactly.
glint in an RPG.
Yeah.
Ooh, a free high potion or whatever. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a good feeling. And then in the month of May, we do have a couple of significant, at least IP related games hitting. I believe Dune Awakening is launching in May.
I'm
I
playing
think.
this game, man. Yeah. I
So that
don't
arrives.
know if
We
it's
have.
gonna be for me, but I am definitely gonna check
It's
it out.
hard to tell. I don't know yet either. I'm with you.
I'm
I
not,
don't
I
know
wasn't
yet.
in the Conan. I know Conan's like really good for some people,
Yeah,
but like and
Mm.
I know this is the
I played
same
it for a
dev, and I know
bit.
it's the same.
It was okay, but this is different.
Yeah.
This is an
See, and I
IP
think
that I'm
I
much
want.
more interested in.
Yes, absolutely. I hope it's good, and like it sounds ambitious. Like, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Also, that month we have another major game releasing. Gaston's probably mad we haven't said it yet. Doom: The Dark Ages releases in
Oh,
May.
sure.
Very excited for this.
So don't forget about that
Yeah.
one. So that's a
Yeah,
major game that's hitting.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the very, let's call it maybe odd choice for FromSoft as Elden Ring Night Rain hits, but then it seems to be
Mm.
consistent now that we know more about this Duskbloods game as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Which
they're
is
heading
also
interesting.
multiplayer. Like it's weird
Yep.
that they're in like a weird like
Yeah.
multiplayer experimental phase right now, which is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I like multiple games I've played of theirs. I'm not a hardcore FromSoft fan. I don't start drooling every time their logo comes up, but I do, of course, love Elden Ring, loved Sekiro, thought Bloodborne was great. Um, but yeah, I'm okay. Like, do whatever you guys want to do. Like, make what is fun for you to make right now. But I'm not that interested in these genres. That even with Elden Ring, Night Rain being in that universe, I kind of don't care about that game. If I'm being honest. Not to bring too much negativity in it. I'll bring it back.
I
I'll
mean,
bring
I'm
it
not
back.
gonna play it, but I'm just gonna make you the bad guy. I'm not gonna say anything so everyone hates you.
No
And
Yeah,
comment.
that's on me now.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah, that's totally on me now. And of course, there's probably lots of other ones that I don't have off the top of my head or on this list in front of me. But there's so many games that I think are left to come out this year. Doing a Q1 kind of contender pretender is actually really funny because it's like I think we've only scratched the surface of what's going to hit this year. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Mm.
We
I
could
think
have
so.
enough significant delays that it ends up being like kind of like last year, where a really strong Q1 and things changed and it ended up being a pretty average
But
to
like,
good year.
if like Lost Soul Outside comes out and it's as good as it looks, like like that's gonna
Oh,
be
dude, I
great.
forgot
If
about that one.
if
Like,
Mind's
That's
Eye,
right.
from the creator of like some of
oh
the
my
That's
god, I
hitting
original
in
forgot about
Grand
that
June.
one
Theft
too.
Auto.
That's
I mean,
in
like
June.
these games are sneaky. It's
Yeah.
coming out the same day as the Switch. So,
Oh my god, stop
no, it's
it.
not. It's coming out a week later. I'm sorry. It's coming out 6/10.
I mean, still
A
though,
week later.
still,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's insane.
If we all love Bonanza, if we all get our hands on a Switch 2 and we all love Bonanza, like,
DK Bonanza.
what are we
Yeah.
doing here? Like it's just
This year is
suddenly
gonna be
our
bonanza.
little list, gets a little nutty, and it gets harder and harder to like champion those darlings, So
I know.
um,
I know. Then it
we'll
becomes
see.
like the battle of a bunch of 9 out of 10s. And it's like, how do you
Yeah.
rate these? That's much harder. Last year was a little bit more of a battle of 8 out of 10s, which is also fun. Like that's still a really good year with a couple of 9s thrown in there, to be fair. A couple of 9s for sure. But like this year is shaping up to be something a little bit different. So I am excited about it. All right, let's wrap it up with stuff that we are currently playing. Dan, you mentioned you're playing some more Assassin's Creed, but maybe it's
Yes.
shifting into more of the junk food phase of game. Like I don't know if that means that you're getting a little bit weary of the loop, because every game, especially Ubisoft games, have a loop. New area,
Yeah.
unlocked map, do quest, whatever, get collectibles. So maybe it's that for you. But tell me a little bit about your Assassin's Creed Shadows time so far.
Yeah, good junk food in this case, because like, not that I'm like, oh man, I have to play Expedition 33 in a couple weeks. Like, I'm very excited for that. I'm actually just a little bummed that I'm gonna have to sort of rush this because I'm enjoying it a lot. I love the setting. Like, this is really for
Yeah.
me. Out of all of the Assassin's Creed, all the way back to 1, this is my favorite setting. I mean, I love Japan. I love all of that shit. So, samurais and ninjas and everything. So like, this is my favorite like setting out of all of them.
Yeah.
Period. So I'm just enjoying
amazing.
walking around. Yeah, it looks beautiful. We've already just got like this like, it's an open world game, and sometimes you have to kind of cut corners with stuff like that because of how big and expansive the world is. But man, this game looks looks fantastic. So it looks really good.
I
Great
remember it
lighting.
was funny when people like were sharing gameplay footage and people were like, "This does not look good," but like no one realized that it was streaming at like 1080, and like people just
Right.
they're quick to
Right.
judge this game, and like
Yes.
this is definitely one of the best looking games I've played in a long time.
Dude,
Like
Yes.
the wind
like
slash rain
absolutely.
effects like
Yeah, the weather
are
is great.
amazing.
When winter kicked in for the first time for me, I was shocked. I was like, "Oh
Yes.
my god!" Like it
Yeah.
changes everything so direct. But even like autumn, like
Yes.
the way that everything changes so quickly is
Yeah.
really interesting to me.
And the trees sway, like the trees and like bamboo like sway very realistically. So just like when it's like that wind slash the rain and like it's kind of like dark out too, it looks so rad. But yeah, I am having a really good time with it. I'm definitely more further into the story as far as like Yasuke being intertwined with things, and there's been some kind of like one-on-one with Naue and Yasuke that's kind of fun. um
Mhm.
the game takes itself very seriously, which is cool. So it's like it's not
I
goofy.
think it's kind
Like
of
it
almost devoid of
most well.
humor, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
like almost, which I don't know how I feel about that because I do like a little like hey, give me a little levity every once in
You're
a
right.
while.
There's
There's been
very
a
little
little
jokey jokes, but there's some.
yeah, I was gonna say there's been a little bit
Yeah.
of like there's a scene where they are hanging out, and not to like spoil in case you guys haven't seen it, but like there is a scene where they're hanging out and
There's
they
some cool
get
like
they loosen up
stocky
they
drinking by
loosen
the
up.
campfire scenes
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are
Okay, so
fun,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
like but like I don't know. I feel like there have been a little more humor in past Assassin's Creed. I'm not saying they're like comedy
Right.
games or anything, but
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
say that some
this
of the
one's a
humor is
little more serious.
tucked away in listening to conversations of like bandits as you're sneaking through, and if there's two of them
Oh,
talking,
sure.
some of that dialogue's been kind of funny as they talk about stuff, but like not like laugh out loud funny, but kind of like that's funny that they included like these two guys whining about stuff in a way that is just very
Yeah.
normal sounding. I don't know,
Or like some
that
person
part's good.
I found out in the middle of nowhere, and he was like, "Oh my god, this Oni is trying to kill me. This Oni is trying," which is like
To a side quest.
supernatural. Yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah,
demon.
yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
side quest, yeah, demon. Which is funny because it's like, well, obviously it's not. But he was just like freaking out about it, and you go out into like a wooded area, so. Yeah, there's definitely just like random conversations. You're walking by, you see a couple of people talking, which kind of wish there was a little more of in this game, because there is definitely that whole there's just characters standing around. If you really like stop and you look, it's like, what the hell are you even doing? Like what are you
Yeah.
even doing over there? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
You know
But
what? I probably
sometimes
wouldn't
it's
have
too much,
noticed
too.
that if I hadn't spent so much time earlier this year with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where I feel like
Mm,
That game
there's
is way too
so
immersive in comparison.
I think it's the
Not
longest
too of it.
script of any game
Oh yeah.
ever, I think. Pretty sure. So like more dialogue than any other game's ever had. And
But also,
that's
like
true.
crazy.
they're all living a life. Like every character in
Right.
Kingdom Come
Exactly.
Deliverance
Yeah.
is living a life.
Yeah.
Whereas, like Dan is saying, a lot of characters that are just planted, like in
Yeah.
Exactly.
Assassin's
So that's
Creed, and,
I
like,
wouldn't
you
have
really
noticed it
don't
as much in the shadows, which I have noticed what you're saying, Dan, only probably because I'm coming right off of another huge open world RPG game where so much care was put into not letting that be what happens with anybody. Like
Right.
you
And
could
it's
be
a
walking
different
into
kind
a
of game, too.
tavern and like you got it something you're gonna do. You're going to like swap out equipment, you're going to start a mission, whatever you're gonna do. But then you hear a guy on the side talking about like this is really a conversation. He's talking about how he can't please his wife anymore, so some guy named Dirk something or other has offered to come to his house like that night. He's not sure what he's supposed to do. And I just stopped and turned around and just listened to this whole conversation going back and forth.
eavesdropping on this.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was so funny. And then like this other guy, like as he's like, "Whoa, okay, man." Like they kind of go back and forth while I'm hiding. He's like, "Well, you want to play some dice?" He's like, "Yeah, all right." Like it just kind of ended with this really
Yeah, all right.
anticlimactic thing. It was really funny, man. So like,
But that's
get-
the
you-
kind of stuff in those games,
yeah,
that
exactly, exactly.
add that extra just like, man, that's just fantastic. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's not like it makes Assassin's Creed suck or anything, but it is something that you notice, that, and it is just kind of funny characters sitting around.
Dirk
Yeah,
Stallion, that was his name.
Dirk,
Stallion.
dude, stop it, Dirk
It's a good name
Stallion.
for
I'm
a
serious.
fucker.
I'm serious. He's an actual NPC, I think, that you can find in the game. But anyway, yeah, Dirk Stallion.
Jesus. But yeah, it's I'm enjoying it. I think I mean I don't actually know where I am in the story because my PlayStation saying I've already played like 80 hours of this game.
Yeah, no, like every time you complete an act in that game, it just ticks up 20%. Like it's not not an accurate ticker. Yeah. Because it
so I don't
said
actually
I've been
know.
at 40% since like the 10th hour of the game. I'm like, there's
Okay,
no way.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I
I don't
think
know if I'm basing it
right
off
after
of
we
the.
recorded last week, Dan, I finished. I think you and I both did this around the same time. Pretty sure it was last week.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. It
finished
was.
that
Yeah, yeah.
first kind of major story moment when you not you first get introduced to Yasuke as Naoe. So they first kind of
Yes,
engage each
yes,
other. And that whole
yes.
sequence, not only the missions leading up to it, some of the story twists that, of which character is doing what, motivations, and
Hmm.
who's lying to
Hmm.
you, and all that stuff, I thought was just excellent storytelling.
I
Like,
thought it was
it's
awesome.
so easy to bash on Ubisoft, but they have crafted a really compelling story here that I think takes some compelling pieces of history with their own kind of fictional adjusted take for their characters that they're
Yeah,
emphasizing here. And it made for a very compelling wrap to that first major section of the game when those two characters meet. It's very emotional. Uh,
yeah,
there's another character who's kind of been a sidekicky type NPC that's sometimes around, all of a sudden becomes super important. I don't know. I thought it was
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
so well done. I loved it.
And
Yeah.
Nobunaga is like really interesting. Like just
Yeah.
whoever was like the voice actor portraying that character, like they did a great job.
Yeah.
Because like leading up to that moment too, like specifically with Nobunaga, like just the way it
Yeah.
was
That
acted and everything that happened, you know.
and
So
that
good.
that without those two characters being there in that shrine is
Mm.
exactly historically how it happened.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
Really?
obviously we don't know who's in the room. It's not like there was a ninja and
Right,
a
right.
samurai hanging out in the room. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but it's also history, so like read a book.
So like Mitsuhide
Um,
is a real
like
character, a real
yeah,
historical
Mitsuhide
character.
really
Okay.
turns on Oda Nobunaga. He actually sacks that exact city. Oda Nobunaga actually dies in that shrine
That's
that
crazy.
exact way while it's on fire.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, like
yeah,
the
yeah.
links that they go to again to like just kind of put your main character into real historical, which is the cornerstone of this whole franchise, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
But like, I know more about Japanese history than I do about Greek and like all these other places, even Vikings, but I know a
You
good
know
deal
what? You're
about.
right. Probably some moments were there that we didn't pick up on in those other
Yeah.
games. Some of those similar.
I
So
remember hearing
yeah,
something about the fire, like some kind of like burning
he
of a
does
city or
commit
something. So when
seppuku
that
like in
happened,
the shrine. He knows
yeah,
he
yeah,
lost and he wants to die with
yeah.
honor, and that's how he goes
Wow.
in that the shrine is the exact name. I mean that it's a historical location, you know.
That's crazy.
It's
I
a
love
And
historical
that.
yeah,
city. It's a historical battle that takes place that
is
they
that
just
where
make you.
Yasuke historically died
Yeah,
too, or was that
it's too
later?
tricky. It's too tricky with that. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I don't really know where Yasuke
I couldn't
died or if he
remember
was
if that
actually
was
there at that
confirmed.
fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think there's enough
Well,
info, like legitimately, whatever confirmed info about his history for us to know,
Well, that
right?
was
I don't
everyone's
think.
yeah,
all beef, right?
there's bits and
So
pieces, but yeah,
yeah.
I don't think we know exactly where he died or
Hey,
where he
listen.
was
I was
times.
skeptical. Dan, you talk about being skeptical. I was very skeptical that they would be able to pull this off as an interesting character that makes sense in this world. I really,
Mm,
truly, I'll just be totally honest. I thought it was going to feel forced and uncomfortable. And like, man, I don't like the criticism of this game, but boy, this is an awkward character to include. I was so glad that I'm wrong. I think he is really intriguing as a character. He
I like
plays
him
a
a lot.
great
Yeah.
plays as a great fish out of water kind of perspective to everything that's going on. Reminds me a little bit of the show Shogun, a little bit. Like just having someone who's totally
Mm,
not from their culture who's trying to navigate it. And dude, they don't even when people first saw it, and I was doing this too, we were mocking the idea of he can't be an assassin. He's huge, he's wearing this armor, and
right.
he's not. Like he's a
No, he's
horrible
not.
assassin. But you know what he's good at? He's good at running through doors. And I just got the Naginata with him last time I played, and the
Mm.
game
Sick.
the combat with the Naginata is
The death blows
amazing.
on that weapon are the best. You like cut off
Dude,
both
They're
of
he'll
their
like
so
arms and they
brutal.
fall to their
he'll
knees and
do
you
like
cut off
yeah,
their head.
arm
Like
arm head. What
yeah,
just happened?
yeah.
What? Yeah, it's crazy.
Have you tried climbing to the viewpoints with him and jumping
Yeah.
off? Have you
Mhm.
tried?
Okay, so I did it once. I did
Okay.
I think it was the Osaka castle. I forget which castle I took over with him, which was great because I got to challenge all of those super strong samurais with him. I just
I
walked straight
bet.
Mm,
up and I was
Yeah.
like, "What's up?" Like bring it. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't even try to sneak that whole mission. Maybe a little
Sure,
bit at the
of
beginning.
course.
And it was so fun. I had a blast playing as him. His combat is really fun, I think.
It's very
Uh
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then work your way up through the tower where there's finally a door at the top that kind of you can pop through and then you don't have to
yep,
climb a
yep,
lot.
yep, yep.
So thankfully they build it in a way that you can get to those, some of them, at least the castle ones, without needing to have
Yep.
Naoe's awesome climbing ability. So it worked fine. But when he jumped and he was screaming the whole way down, which was
Yes,
hilarious to
yes,
me. And then he
yeah,
lands on the hay and it just that whole
yep,
pile's gone. You can't use it anymore
yep.
because he destroyed it. So
Yeah.
it was really
And
funny.
he says some sort of thing of like, "Oh man, at least I survived that," or like something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's really
I
funny.
loved it, man. I
But
think
yeah.
it's great. He's not an assassin the way
And
now he is, at
he's well
least.
acted too. He's well acted too. I
Yeah.
Really
think
well acted.
whoever's
Mhm.
Yeah,
whoever's voicing him, they did a good job. So he's
yeah,
Well,
got
and
a
they
gentleness to
added
him.
enough compelling turns to both characters where like they both have to have some measure of like forgiveness to get over working
that's
together,
right.
and like it's
That's
just
right.
like there's a complex onion emotional story going on here that isn't just like, well, we hate these guys, let's team up, like there's a lot of
That's
Right,
right.
barriers
right,
there
right.
that they're breaking through, and
Yeah.
I don't know,
Well, and they
it
both
makes
have
it
been
makes the
ripped away
story
from a
interesting.
place. They both been ripped away from a place they belong. So he started to belong
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
Nobunaga
yeah.
and his clan. That's all taken away from him. She, of course, with her hometown she grew up in, taken away from her. So like, there's
Hmm.
certainly a through line that you can connect to. Like, that's why I've been thrilled to watch the story unfold because
Yeah,
just objectively speaking, the story works and the characters work. Like maybe
yeah.
people still don't like that
Well,
certain choices are made. That's totally fair. Like you can have that opinion, but objectively speaking, the story and characters, they do work. It doesn't feel
yeah.
forced, just
Well,
to
and
be
they
real clear.
carried on the
Yeah.
string really early that like Yasuke knows something about the gauntlets and
Right,
maybe
Yeah,
right,
something about
right,
the
right.
assassin culture, and like more
that's right.
than the assassin in the game, even though I like
Yeah,
that. I feel
Me too.
like they have to lean on each other a lot to get the full picture. And
yeah,
it unfolds in a really interesting way, and all the missions like bleed together in a really interesting way. Like you don't realize you're doing a mission unless you're on the menu that directly affects a future assassination. Like it's just the
That's
way
right.
yeah,
that it. Maybe you do 3 or 4 side missions, and suddenly you have enough information for someone's face to highlight up.
yep,
Like
yep, 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 yep.
it's just very, very,
I didn't
very
like that at first, if I'm being
unique.
honest, but now I really like that loop of like, let me open up the mission menu, and it kind of forced me to keep learning about who's who and like who am I going after, and then I got to send out scouts to find the exact
Yeah,
location.
Yeah, it
Sometimes I
starts
don't know.
giving you
I
the picture and like kind of opening
yeah.
Yeah,
things up. Like, yeah,
It,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's
it's
very
grown on
like
me. I didn't like it at
it
first, but
gives
it's
you
grown
it
on
gives
me.
you a thread to pull on, and it's easy to
Yeah,
walk away from that thread and start something else, and then be like, wait, so there is a little bit of like I have to get used to this loop, and like
yeah,
I am pulling on this thread right now. Let's just keep on pulling on this one without like
yeah.
getting too distracted. And I think that definitely helps, make that
I
mechanic
agree.
make a little more sense. I definitely had a similar issue where I was just like, I feel a little lost right now, or like what
Yeah,
should I be doing next, and what, like there's just so much, and that board fills up so quickly, like it's
yeah,
just
Yeah.
like every time I go back to it, there's like a new circle, a new whole circle with all new
Yeah.
people.
yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, but
Like,
not
how
in a
And
many
bad
hey,
bad
way.
people live here?
the armor
I
designs are amazing for both
Yeah,
characters.
I
The
love the
armor and
transmog
weapons.
where it's like I just
Mhm.
want it to look. I don't want it to look like this. So, and easily right there, you just press a button and make it look like something
Yeah,
else.
you have super
Yeah,
strong armor that you think doesn't look
all
how you
games
want
need
your
to do
character to
that.
look. No problem,
Yeah,
man. Quickly switch it to look like any other
if you don't
armor
want to wear
set
that
you've
All
got.
goth helmet,
games need to
hide
let
it.
you do that.
Yeah.
By the
And
way,
there was
I
another.
I hit his helmet right away. I think he looks much cooler without it. I understand it's
Yeah,
not practical in a samurai world, but he looks way cooler
yeah,
Sure.
without it.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's other things about. I mean, there's just so much to unpack about that game that we could talk about it for hours. I mean, like I've fell into so many things that were just so
Yeah.
unique about this game that kind of keeps me coming
Yeah.
back and keeps me thinking about it when I'm not playing it. From everything, from
Yeah.
just like walking around saving some random person and being like, "Hey, do you got any rumors?" And they just like put
Yeah.
something on
Yeah.
your map.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just
Yep.
that feels better than just walking somewhere and being like, "Hey, I have an exclamation point over my head."
Yeah. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
here's
I'm
the
here
real
to give you
question for
something.
you guys. When you're using Yasuke, especially because you can't be as sneaky, and one of the little like servants or maids sees you and they want to run tell everyone about it, do you kill them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Even as Naue, absolutely,
Um,
I'm killing that person.
but aren't you guys getting the warning? Like, oh, you killed too
Only
many
if you attack
civilians.
them first. Like if you attack them,
Oh,
all the times
okay.
I
I've
don't
killed
I
them
haven't
after
gotten
they've
any
been
warning.
alerted, yeah, I've never
Yeah.
gotten a warning because like it is imperative to keep your stealth to kill them. So it's like the game
Well,
kind of like forgives you a little bit.
because I told Tim, I was like, I basically sneak up behind them, I grab them, and then I choke
Hmm.
them out. So
That's
I don't
smart.
kill them, I choke them out. Um, because I got
Yasuke
it
can't do
twice. I
that. He
got two
just goes
times.
whistle and then stabs them
Weird,
right in their
yeah.
face.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if the game
okay.
clocked those as you preemptively attacking them. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it just, I
Because
don't know.
I haven't had that yet. But like
Okay.
I got to be honest. I've tend to walk into a lot of situations just killing people. So as Yasuke, there are many
Okay.
times I use Naoe for stealth. It's like that.
I
using a
think I'm
healthy
gonna
amount of
revert to her for most of this game, but I do know that when I want to bull rush, he is a
Yeah.
blast to play as. I really like him.
Yeah.
I will say
Absolutely.
this one frustration that I did hit, and there's some standard open world frustrations here and there. I've had some weird jankiness with the horse getting stuck on some pathing things. I've had a few of those little things here and there.
Mm.
Auto
Um,
horse just got updated, so now you can
I
auto
heard they
run
just
him.
rolled that update out. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. But the one thing that did frustrate me, I hit a new city as Naue, and every guard that saw me alerted to me, and I wasn't in a place I wasn't. I was like, "What is happening?"
But you have a
It
wanted
turns
button?
out, yeah, I didn't know there was a wanted system in this game. They didn't
Yeah,
tell me
yeah,
that.
It
yeah,
clears
Like
up after
yeah.
a season, yeah, but
they
it
didn't. They didn't
stays
say
that whole
that at
season.
all. I had to Google it. I was like, "What is
Yeah.
happening? Why are they attacking me?"
When you pull up the actual world map or the map or whatever, there is something that tells you
It'll say
that
like
you
you're
have
wanted in this area, something like that. But I don't remember there being a tutorial.
I had no idea. So
Yeah.
these guys kept attacking me. I'm like running. I'm like, "What is this game is glitching? It's just such a stupid game." And I realized, I don't know. You're just. And by the way, I
I
learned that
murdered somebody I shouldn't
now
have.
that you
Yeah.
have both characters, you can swap to the other one if you're wanted and continue to the next
Sure.
season as the
Yeah.
other one and
Yeah.
not have the one,
Yeah.
which is a nice
Yeah, yeah,
feature
yeah.
too.
There's a really interesting when you're taking down maybe like a family of like samurai, like one of those circles that are all connected to each other. Like if you're reading like how they're connected, there are ways that you can like spare people because like she doesn't believe in the cause. So if you kill the leader, maybe she walks away from everything, and it spares you from having to do that mission by like doing
Oh.
things in a certain order and reading all the
Mm.
little rumors that you're getting and stuff like that. There was one where I had to kill a family of people, family of samurai or whatever, and I went to the head of the family first. I murdered him in his
Mm.
own home, and the rest of the family came there because they were called to come back to see who was gonna like
Oh.
take over the family, and then I killed all of them at the same time in the same place instead of having to find them all across the map. And
Dude,
that's amazing. Like
yeah,
I
I
just
that's
love
pretty
that.
good.
that's
That's
amazing.
great.
So like yeah, do
Yeah.
a good job of making
That's
sure
called
that
game
like
design.
that
Yeah.
is dynamic game design, so it's
That's
like there
really
are ways
cool.
to like play the game on your terms, and like that was really cool that I was able to like
Yeah.
bring everybody
Yeah.
in and like save a dozen hours maybe fighting all these people at the
Yeah.
same
Sure.
time. So
Sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. That's
Oh,
cool.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
Good job,
still
Ubisoft.
early enough where I'm still in that second, whatever the main act is after you first team up back with Yasuke, and you. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of still in that phase um, of the game. So early in the story, but I feel like I've explored a ton already. I think maybe in the
I think I've
just under 20
killed
hours worth of games.
half of the
Something.
main ring of people
Okay.
there. Like so I don't know if that's like that I'm halfway done with the story. I don't know if
who
that's
knows?
how I
Yeah.
gauge that, but I don't know about
Yeah.
you guys, but yeah, I think I got like half of them done. So
I'm pretty sure you can respec at any time too, right? Can't you turn off?
I
Can't you
think so.
change your?
Yeah.
I think
I
so.
think you
I
Yeah,
can
haven't.
I
respect.
believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's true, that's amazing because there's so many different paths you could kind of set up for yourself to.
Yeah.
I want to use the teppo or the gun, or I want to use the bow and arrow or the
The
naginata.
tempo rocks,
Or
dude. That
It's-
it rocks.
dude, when you
Like,
unlock some
shooting
of those
someone in the
special
head,
moves, yeah,
so shooting them in the head and them just being like they're just dead. Like there's not there's not like a
yeah.
fight afterwards. Yeah, it's super awesome. I love it.
And also you can supercharge that thing up for like follow up attacks. You can smack them
Yeah.
with it. There's all kinds of things you can keep doing with that thing if that's the route you want to go.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's I love it. And the Naginata, of
And he
course, I
reloads it
unlocked all kinds
quickly
of
too.
big sweeping attack moves that are just taking out like huge groups of enemies, which is so satisfying.
Mhm.
I just didn't appreciate how big and strong he was till I was surrounded by enemies, started swinging that thing around. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's a brute, absolute
No,
brute.
Did you
so I can
guys
clear out whole
get the big
towns
old
with
club
him.
weapon yet? The big
I
old
haven't
club
Looks
gotten that
weapon?
one
great.
yet.
A lot of cool
Okay.
death kills on that one.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like unbelievably brutal. Like holy shit,
Yeah.
brutal.
This is definitely the most visceral
Yeah,
think
Contenders
so?
so
it's
far. Yeah. It's
yeah,
insane
yeah,
how
yeah.
like gory and you're just cheesing people's limbs off, man. Especially when you get that
Dude,
Kurosagi out, like,
heads
and you're just like
heads are
cutting
lying
like
like
heads
off
off
in the
and
corner. Yeah, like
so good.
I
Yeah.
love the Kurosagi too. Her
Yeah.
whatever that chain with the ball and the
Yep.
blade on it.
mm.
The yeah, that weapon is super cool. I like that one a
It is
lot.
cool. Yeah, as
Good
I'm
crowd
further into the
control.
game, my now like she can fight, man. Like
Yeah.
like I do stealth. Like I am stealthing, but like I don't feel like when I get seen, I'm like, I gotta reload it. I'm like, well, she can take
Yeah.
care of this. I don't like to get
Yeah.
there, but like, if it does come down to that, I'm like, all right, well, looks like I'm gonna have a lot of dead guys on this mission, you know, and it feels good. And she feels good to play as. I mean, they both just
Yeah.
man, this game's really something to me. I'm really enjoying it.
Good
Oh
game.
wait, so do you stealth and like not kill people? You just like will go past them? Like,
No,
stealth,
I
or?
just mean like I do my best not to like leave like dead bodies behind. Like I'm just trying to stealth like to get
Oh,
to the.
Dead bodies everywhere, dude.
No, yeah,
Just
it
everywhere.
it makes the missions too long, you know. Like I'm trying to leave no trace.
See,
Try
this
to
is
make
why I have 80 hours in the game.
That's
then,
why you're
because
80
like
hours in. Yeah.
like
yeah.
Kyle, the castles, the castles that have like 100 plus
So big.
goddamn freaking enemies. I tag all of them and I kill every single one stealth wise. I stealth all of them.
Hey,
I mean,
speaking of castles,
sometimes
like
I
I
can do
have
it,
found that I run out of scouts real quick to like get the extra supplies.
right?
That part kind of bummed me out a little bit. I was like, I guess you have to pick
You
and choose what supplies you need.
go to the
Yeah, you can go to
you
your
look,
hideout and replenish those before a season break.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Before the castle
Yeah,
replenishes
pay
soldiers
like
after it makes
200
season.
Rio or whatever, and like you
And
get
then run
one
back to
scout
the
back.
empty castle that I've now emptied out. And
Yeah. I have a couple spots where I'm like, hey, this is a really good spot for resources, and I know when a season, I'm gonna come right back here and take all these
yeah.
resources again, and that's
Yeah.
nice. I like that. Like,
Hey, the
where,
town building is
know,
pretty fun. You can decorate to your heart's content there too. There's tons of
it's
stuff you can
insane
do.
how much like
Yeah.
way deeper than I thought it was.
You can build your own little
Yeah.
samurai village. Is basically what you're doing.
You can
It's
lay down like pathways and make
Yeah.
little.
I love it.
It's just insane. It's so
You can
crazy.
put whatever animal you want, dude. I just got monkeys, by the way. I just got monkeys.
Monkeys.
I need to snow monkeys. I need to put the snow monkeys.
Cute.
That's awesome.
Forgot about this.
Yeah, man, I'm loving Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's I hope that more people give this game a chance. And as all
Yes.
Assassin's Creed games go, it'll eventually hit super cheap and it'll be a ridiculously low price for how much game you're getting. And I will
Yeah.
be a champion for this game, just like I am for the others. I think more so that like as of right now, I can already say I like it more than Valhalla of the new ones for sure. For me, Odyssey is still tops, but this one is right there, and Origins is still right behind Odyssey. They're so close for me, but this one to me has already surpassed Valhalla, which I played for like 100 hours. I loved Valhalla, but it definitely had its flaws and its drawbacks that you had to acknowledge a little bit. And so yeah, this one it just feels better. The flow is better. The characters are more interesting. I like the setting, like Dan was saying. So yeah, I'm loving it. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only other main thing that I'm playing. What about you guys? Anything else you're playing or watching that we can highlight before we wrap up?
There's a lot of anime going on right now.
Oh yeah, Dan. In fact, Tim, why don't you load up? We spent our whole budget on an anime segment theme. Can you load that? Can you load that up for me real quick?
Yeah, I'll put it in post.
Load it up.
I'll put it in post. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
All
I'll put it
right,
in post.
Just enjoy. All right, here we go.
And
I'll just rant because I know we're going along tonight. But like Lazarus, it's the new Shintaro Watanabe guided Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, all that stuff. First episode came out. It's fantastic. So good. Animation's great. Superb animation. It's really the whole first episode is a chase sequence, and it's like free running and elaborate, and like there's a lot of moving parts, and there's no CGI that I can tell. Maybe there is some, but I can clock it. Very, very good. Check that out if you're a big Cowboy Bebop fan. Great jazz soundtrack. Great soundtrack.
Of course.
I'm also watching Devil May Cry on Netflix. I'm about halfway through that. If you are a fan of this game, it's so awesome. It's so good.
Okay.
This is the guy who did the Blood Dragon anime from like a while back.
Oh, yeah.
He took the concept of Blood Dragon and turned it into like an anime series. He's a wacky guy.
Yeah.
The guy's been going to WWE events dressed up as Dante, full leather outfit, Like,
of course
he's in,
he has.
Dude. Yeah, he's in.
He
He's one of us, It's very fun. It's got a lot of Easter eggs. There's plenty of times where I'm like, oh my god, that's the boss from 3, or that's this, or Lady's here and she's great. It's a good time, and like they lean into like Dante. Like Dante thinks he's cool. We all know he's a cheeseball. He's a goofball.
Right.
He's a goofy weirdo, and the show knows that. So like again, like he's portraying himself as like really cool. But like it's like purposely goofy, and a needle drop every episode, which is fun. Like they'll just a song from like the early 2000s, late 90s will just pop on. You're like, oh yeah, this show is for people our age. Okay, I get it.
Right. Well, that's when the series like started, right? It was the early 2000s. So.
Yeah. It was birthed out of the new metal era of angstiness. So
yeah, that's right.
I finished and caught up with Jujutsu Kaisen. Dan, you're gonna get a
Okay.
reminder to start the show every day until you start it.
All right, now you're like my friend with One Piece. Although One Piece is not as reasonable, so
This is
because One
reasonable.
Piece is 1,000. Right, exactly. So
Go watch the anime, Dan. It's great. It's the best
okay,
fights of it.
Come on,
I
Dan.
was like, I was just like, I don't even know if I can watch anime after this because like nothing's gonna live up to this.
nothing's
Like,
gonna
fight-wise.
nothing. Dude, yeah,
I
I
think this
love
might
anime
have ruined
fights.
anime for me. And like,
Yeah,
sometimes I don't understand what's going on in the story at all because it's just wacky.
sure,
But like,
sure.
I don't care when those fights are going on.
Yeah, I
And
love
because
anime
everyone won't
fights.
shut up about it, I started solo leveling. It's pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I think people
okay,
were like really locked in on the second season. I'm most of the way through the first season. It's got a great
okay.
gimmick. It's like this guy, he gets superpowers, and it's like his superpowers are like video game mechanics. So I can level up now, and I can
Oh, okay.
distribute my stats, and I have menus that pop up in front of me, and I have an infinite inventory
So,
because like it's
is
all
this real
digital. Like
life or is it like an
it's
isekai?
real life. It's real
Okay,
life,
okay,
and his superpower is that
okay.
he lives like he has video
Like a
game
video
powers.
game,
Like he's a video
like a
game
video game.
character.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't
okay.
really know how to explain outside of that. It's when someone explained it to me, I was
Makes
like, oh,
sense.
see, it didn't make sense
That
to me
makes
when
sense.
someone explained it to me.
Okay, it
So
makes
I'm
sense to
glad
me.
you're at least
Makes
kind
sense
of
to me.
getting it.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
But it's interesting, and it's Korean, so it's not you
Okay,
know
okay, cool.
it's from Korea, and man, it's absolutely amazing. So a lot of great
Nice.
anime out
Good
there. Go watch
fights.
some anime or don't. I don't care. It's
Or
fine.
don't.
Have you?
Yeah.
So did you start Moonrise? Because Jeff had mentioned that one. I had seen a preview of it, but
No, I'm gonna wait to hear a little more on that one. Yeah,
okay. I watched the first
I'm.
couple of episodes.
What do you think?
I think it's. I think it seems cool. It's got a cool premise. I'm only 2 episodes in, so like the first
Yeah,
2 episodes are like actually like building up to like when things start to get going. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, it seems really cool. Basically, like people are living on the moon. Um, and then like so Moonrise almost kind of it basically
Hmm.
literally the villain that ends up popping up is like the moon will rise. Like he literally says like basically the name of the anime. But essentially it gets to a point where like all right, the moon people are like we want to be independent and like F Earth. So like they do some bad stuff and bad things are happening on Earth because they're like, yeah, Earth are trying to take from us, like screw them. So like
Hmm.
then it's like the moon versus the Earth people.
Do
Um
they say
and
welcome to
the
Earth?
Welcome to
no,
Earth with an F.
no, I minus points. I minus points. Well, because they're not welcoming anybody to the Earth. They're trying to
Oh,
destroy the
fair
Earth
enough.
people. So
Yeah,
yeah, they're not
that's
Get
fair.
welcoming.
off the
They're not.
Earth.
Yeah,
Yeah, there it is. There
f
it
off
is.
Earth. But no, yeah, the animation's pretty solid. I think the concept seems interesting. I'm intrigued. Not a lot of like action happened yet because again, it's setting up the premise. But the very
Yeah,
beginning is like it was like basically present time, the very first scene, but then like
yeah,
basically the remainder of it up to the end of episode 2 it was like flashback kind of like bringing you to that point like why these people are even here so
yeah.
um
A lot of
I
anime
like it
taking their time these days to set up.
yeah
Like
yeah
all the
yeah
stuff I just
yeah
mentioned, I was like, I didn't really get into it until like the sixth episode or so. That was
yeah
Devil
yeah
May Cry aside because it's moving at like a breakneck pace. But like, yeah, a lot of anime takes its time now, where it's like, oh, you got to give it
yeah
a few episodes to kind of
yeah
get a good vibe on it.
yeah there's some sci-fi elements here so I think you'll like it if you give it a watch
Yeah.
give the first 2-3 episodes a watch so
I did watch the new Gundam also. Gundam Grooks,
oh
I think it's
yes I
called.
forgot about
Too
that
many
one
U's.
yeah
Very good.
good
I
name
think it's
good
like
name
it feels like it's a retelling of the first original Gundam. Like
oh
like
okay
like Char shows up, and I'm like, what are you doing here? So I think that's a retelling of like the original
okay
like series. And when I looked it up, that's kind of like how it's being pitched. It's
interesting
good.
okay
Yeah, there's a lot of good anime out here, and I know I just named off like three of the most mainstream after like declaring I'm not a big mainstream anime guy. Jujutsu Kaisen, Solo Leveling, Gundam. These are like the most mainstream out there.
sure
They're
sure
very, very, very good, and like
yeah
I am making concessions,
We
to
also just talked for like 20
open
minutes
my
about
heart.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, so like the most mainstream of video game companies.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like,
Well, to be fair, I definitely am a mainstream video game player, so
yeah,
I do get
we're
sucked into pretty
sellouts. We're
mainstream.
shills. Let's just
Yeah,
say it. Let's
yeah.
just say it.
We like
Yeah.
Ubisoft games. We're definitely sellouts. So, but that's all. Yeah, that's all for me. I mean, that's a lot of anime recently. I'm watching it week to week, which is new for me. I don't do a lot of week to week stuff. So,
Mm.
with anime specifically. So interesting. Interesting to
Nice.
be in on the topics as they're coming out.
Dan, any other ones for you want to add in?
No, it was just Moonrise. And
Moonrise?
I do
Okay.
think there's an interesting premise there, so I would recommend
You have
at
to let
least
me
like
know
checking
how
out
you
the
get more into it, how that's
Yeah.
doing for you.
Yeah.
Well, I went through a quick documentary binge this past week. I watched through Surviving Black Hawk Down, which I highly recommend, especially if
Oh.
you're,
Really want to watch that. Yeah.
liking any
What
kind of war, history stuff.
clusterfuck that was.
Dude,
That whole
it's such a
situation.
mess.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating about that is that they actually do include Somalis who were there in that village, and so you get
I
Oh.
saw
not
that in the
just the
trailer.
you don't just get the oh America's awesome, they just made some mistakes perspective. No, you get here's the American guys and how things were messed up and they wanted out of there. You get from the Somali side and how they
Oh,
were
wow.
like, you are the enemy and we hate you and this is why we wanted to kill you. I wanted to get there first so I could kill them. Like, and they're interviewed like, and as you're hearing
Yeah.
them talk, like I
Wow.
just watched my family die, so of course I wanted to shoot down that helicopter. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I loved it. I loved the perspective it offered. It was very raw. It was a lot of real footage, great interviews. It doesn't make you love or hate anyone involved any more or less, other than maybe like the powers that be that are pulling the strings, sitting in their cushy
Mhm.
Well,
offices, maybe them.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just fascinating. Really well done. Highly recommend that documentary. I'm pretty sure Ridley Scott, his production company, was part of that too. Like he did the Black Hawk Down movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure his company was part of that. And then I was like, let's keep going with this 90s theme. So I watched the O.J. Simpson documentary that just came out
Oh.
recently
Yeah.
too,
Nice.
which was,
Ooh.
again, I was just really into
Similar.
90s hot messes this past week, I
Kind of a
guess.
clusterfuck. Also, this
Yeah,
situation.
Yeah.
completely.
It's 90s
Because
clusterfuck week for Tim. So
because because listen, R.I.P. OJ. He's a human being, and he's passed
did he
on. So I'm not
die?
trying to speak ill of the dead. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
passed
didn't
away.
know
I kind
that.
of forget
Yeah.
that he passed
Whoops.
away
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, he died from I forget which kind of cancer he had, but yeah, he died from
Well,
cancer.
I don't know, the
Um,
deserved one, I guess.
The des-
I don't know.
but I can say this as definitively as I think and I think even everyone on the documentary, even those who were on his side at the end, were kind of like, yeah, no, he totally did it. Like
well,
everyone kind of agrees that he did this thing,
yeah.
but the trial and the people involved and the investigator that just worst luck in the world that this guy happened to be this horrifically very open racist that they have on tape. And so they were able to discredit so much of his testimony and like, oh, did you plant
Mm.
the glove? Like it became a whole thing where the jury, of course, was like, there's reasonable doubt here because we've got a really
Mhm.
corrupt system. And anyway, crazy, really intriguing, loved it. You get people from all different sides that are being interviewed and fascinating stuff there. And then the most recent one I watched, it's not the newest documentary, it's been out for a little while, but I hadn't watched it yet. It's the Boston Marathon bombing
Oh,
documentary.
jeez,
I
dude.
think it was
Oh
called
my
I
I
gosh.
watched
think it's
that
called
one, and
Manhunt.
I never realized that like they had took like a guy hostage, and like there was a lot of
It
stuff
was
that
so
I had
intense.
no
It's
idea.
a it's a
Yeah.
I see now why Mark Wahlberg did a movie of it. I was like, why did he do a
Mm.
movie of this? Like, what's the
Yeah,
the whole
come on,
Manhunt thing?
Bob.
Like
It's insane
the
how
90
much they went
hours
to
is
that.
an incredible and horrible, but incredible story of like
Mm.
their escape and
I re-
the way they're fleeing and all that.
I remember like having to stay home. Our work like did the whole like shooting
Yeah,
out
the
a
lockdowns.
call to the lockdown. Yeah, like it told everybody like you're staying home. No one come to the buildings.
Mhm.
I remember the helicopter flying over the guy's house with the boat where he ended up
Whoa.
at the end
Yeah,
there.
the final
Like I
shootout.
remember all
Yeah.
of that. Like that shit was crazy. It was
In like
crazy, dude.
Watertown, I think was the name of the little
Yeah, I believe so.
village
Yeah,
or whatever
Watertown.
suburb
Yeah,
that.
Watertown.
Man, oh
Yeah,
man,
that
what
was
a
wild. And it
great
just
documentary.
I didn't know they
Yeah,
shot a security guard on campus. Like, dude,
neither did I.
I was watching this and I was like, this
In
news was
Cambridge.
on 24/7 at
Yeah.
work. Like, how did I not know any of this? Like,
Yep.
yeah,
pretty
the whole
crazy.
thing was crazy. Yeah.
Yep. And they kind of go into their backgrounds a little bit too. You get a lot of different perspectives. It's very interesting. Even the guy who decided to go to where he went to, I forget where he traveled. The older brother who was really kind of radicalized. They go to find out like how is he radicalized, and they go there and they realize these are all just normal people. There's no people that are being radicalized here. Like something happened with him personally, but he didn't
Mm.
go to a country and the country did something. Like that's how we're ingrained to think about it. Oh
Yeah.
no, he
Yeah.
went to a Muslim
He
country and then
went
came back
somewhere,
crazy.
and
That's what
somebody turned
happens.
him.
And
Yeah.
it's like that's just such an unfair way to. So I love when a documentary gives you like both sides and lets you think about it. You have to chew on it, and it's hard because people got hurt and died, and it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you have to
Yeah.
kind of chew on what actually. I think we should do that for all of these kind of disasters that happen. Anyway, that was 12 years ago that the Boston bombing happened.
That's
I know,
crazy.
so long ago.
Does feel
Yeah.
way longer than that, yeah.
It's crazy. So anyway, those are my documentary binges that I went on this past week. In
Cool.
addition to having, the last thing I'll close on is I did introduce my middle school sons to Monty Python and the Holy Grail this week.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome. Sick.
There you go.
They
The best.
were intrigued by it. They're already quoting it today. We watched it the other night. They're already
There
quoting
you go.
it.
Yeah.
There you go.
But they were also the whole time going, "This is so dumb." Like you can tell they were kind of like, "Do we have to keep watching this?" But then they wouldn't stop laughing either. Like it's.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was like, "Yeah, you're
They
right.
didn't
It is
want to
dumb."
admit it. They didn't want to admit it.
Like story wise, it's a waste of your time. But humor
I mean,
wise,
it's Monty
you'll
Python.
remember it
It's
forever.
inherently dumb, but yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
It's
Yeah.
so dumb. Like they knew right away with the coconuts and the horses and them arguing about if a swallow could carry a coconut. They knew
Yep.
right away, like what is
You
this?
know what you're getting into pretty quickly with that movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's in their
pretty
zeitgeist
hilarious.
now. It's in their zeitgeist.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You got to keep
There
it
we go.
alive, man. We got to keep these like classics burning in the younger generation because
I agree.
that's like comedy 101, you know, is that
That's
that is a great example of British dry humor, you know. And,
I kept
if you
telling
wanna,
them like
if you want a crash course on like what that comedy scene is like, there's a whole
Yep.
movie for it. There you go.
like there's the whole sequence of the historian who's standing there talking, and then a guy runs by and slices him and then keeps moving, and then the lady runs in going like Harold or whatever. She's like,
yeah.
I still to this day I don't understand why that's
Yeah.
in there or how
And
it's
it keeps
funny.
on peppering through. Like there's like an investigation going on with that. Like it's a total like
Yeah.
B or C story, you know?
Yeah, and it makes no sense. It doesn't belong.
They all
And
get
yet, of
arrested
course,
at
over
the
the years of
end.
my times
Yeah.
watching it, I'm like, this is so funny. Like it's not,
Yeah.
but it anyway. And
The
so they
best
were like,
gag
why
is-
did they add that? I was like, I don't know. It's British. I don't know what to tell you. Like it's
My
It's
favorite,
British.
gag is when they're reading the chiseling on the wall and like the guy dies while chiseling like
Oh,
at
yeah.
the very end of the sentence and he's like, "What do you mean he chiseled? Ah!" Like his death scream. It's like that's what it says. It's right here. Ah.
There's also a lady's hand with really like pretty red nails turning the pages of the book, and then a beast's hand comes in and grabs her hand while she's
Grabs her
turning the
hand, yeah.
pages of the book, and then for the rest of the movie, he's the one turning the pages. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a monk?
Like I have Tourette's at least once a week. I'll go, "You fell out of the high tower, you creep." At least once a week at
Just-
work at somebody, you know.
Just
It's
add
one
something.
of the greatest movies ever.
I
good.
I used to quote to my cousin all the time whenever one of us would say something like a smart aleck or something stupid or whatever. We would kind of look at each other and be like, "And who are you who's so wise in the ways of science?" Like we always used to love saying that because King Arthur's addition to that whole stupid witch scene was him saying a duck. Like now he's wise in the ways of science. Oh my gosh, I just love it. I love it. Anyway, all right. Well, that does it for this week, guys. Kyle, glad you're back, man. It's good to have you back.
Thank you. Yeah, always having fun.
A lot of games that we are playing and will be playing in the next few weeks. So I hope you guys join us. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.